it settles in once again for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. From the Valley of the Sun for the first time since 2023, Phoenix Rising find their way hosting a side, and this time a team from Major League Soccer. Houston Dynamo in town tonight as Rising take on an MLS side in their friendliest of confines for the first time in over 10 years here for the Rising Radio pregame warm-up. Ryan Sikora, Ronan Haycoop Rowe. It's an occasion for both of these sides as they search for themselves through the early portions of the year.
Yeah, and we talked about it on Saturday against Switchbacks for Phoenix Rising. It was kind of the similar story between those two teams trying to find themselves in the USL Championship, but Houston Dynamo really trying to find themselves in Major League Soccer currently. I mean, we all know what happened last year. It was a solid team, finished 5th place in the Western Conference, and just were unable to get it done down the stretch. Everything with Hector Herrera and everything that went into that, of course, and that falling out for Houston Dynamo did do them well. And then a really slow start, haven't been able to really produce anything, and only sit above the Western Conference table is above a struggling LA Galaxy side.
It's been a tough year for Houston, who have had a lot of turnover over these past 6 or so months. They lost 4 starters from this team, have tried to internally replace the MLS side 14th in the Western Conference under their third-year head coach, Ben Olsen. Kind of similarly to Phoenix, lost a ton of starters last year, struggling out of the early doors, third bottom in the Western Conference. Ronan Pamaduka has had his hands full to begin the year, most of that due to injuries. Tonight we're going to see a team that's feeling those injuries just the same.
Yeah, all things considered, it's really tough for Phoenix Rising, a team that showed some fantastic flashes against Colorado Switchbacks. Sure. And I'll even talk about Asenge. You know, you bring him into a team, first time he's going to be out in the Rising Red. It was only in Phoenix for 3 days prior to his trip, or I don't even know if it was 3 days, to be quite honest with you, Ryan. And for Asenge now not to be in the lineup due to not being able to play in the USL Open Cup because he's already played for Ventura County. Yep. It's just so frustrating to see that for Phoenix Rising, but there's way more holes to be filled on this roster, and we talk about it almost every broadcast. This team has the talent. It's just a matter of when these guys get back healthy, get back in the lineup. We see Quacial today for the first time in a while.
I mean, partner, to your point, 11th game of the year for Phoenix Rising, the 10th different backline pairing that you will see tonight. We'll go through the full lineup later on in this pregame show, but there's been stop-start, stutter-started changes throughout the portions of this year so far, and that's why Rising 1, 4, and 5 have a chance, and really both of these teams, to use the Open Cup to their advantage, to find their footing. It's a Houston team that has struggled to create chances, a Rising team that have struggled to keep them out. That should mesh well tonight for a fun game.
Yeah, Houston, I mean, just that the LAFC result was just not what you want out of that side. They had a decent showing against Austin a few days prior to that. It's been a busy schedule for Houston as well as they kind of start to fall in that Western Conference table, and obviously it's ending up in 14th where they are now. But the U.S. Open Cup is a spot for them to be able to, you know, take advantage of this and be able to be, hey, not only win some prize money, but also get some momentum going into the rest of the Major League Soccer season that this team so desperately needs. And if you're Houston Dynamo, you're looking across this team. If you're Ben Olsen, you're looking at Rising, and you kind of smell a little bit of blood in the water, a team that's been battered. But for Phoenix Rising, on the flip side, you really want to take this and you want to play with house money, right? The cards are stacked against you, but you are playing with house money. This is why the Open Cup is so fun, is because teams that aren't technically better than the other on paper can go out and win it. It's why we love March Madness. It's why we love all these tournaments. You never know what's going to happen in footy, and for Phoenix Rising to take advantage of that would be awesome.
And now we close out this first part of the pregame warm-up show with everybody in this city's favorite Venezuelan. Juan Guerra, who was the manager at the tail end of 2022 for Phoenix Rising, was the manager for the full stint of 2023 when Phoenix lifted the cup in Charleston, left at the beginning of 2024 to take an assistant job in Major League Soccer with Houston Dynamo. He returns to the confines of 38th and Washington for the first time here tonight. Very happy to be here. Very surreal experience for him, and kind of a surreal experience for you and I as well.
Yeah, it's going to be weird seeing Juan in different colors, obviously. You know, the run in 23 was so special, just for the team, for the city, everything that went into it, and the way in which they won. And Juan, just such a charismatic guy, was able to kind of have the team, you know, pull themselves up by the bootstraps, and obviously, you know, you get to hoist hardware at the end of the season. Everybody's going to remember you, especially a team like Phoenix, that with everything that happened with COVID and getting that ripped out, and then everything that meant for the city and this team that, you know, fans expect success from, was amazing. And now hopefully for Phoenix Rising, that tide will start to turn back to that championship aspirations.
Still the same guy, the brightest of smiles, not a hair out of place, walking arms crossed, constantly probing and searching for something. His team have to find solutions, and they think they will. This is a Houston Dynamo side that have struggled throughout, but they think they're very close. Juan pregame told us they're in the same boat as Phoenix in a lot of ways. They're still learning who they are. They're still finding it, but they think there's enough good stuff there that eventually it will come, and that's maybe the start of tonight's game. That's maybe the biggest point of this one. Can it be the start of something for either of these two teams?
Yeah, and it's just so tough, too. You just wish that this Rising team was at full strength, because then it's a real tip on the cap for Dynamo to come into Phoenix and come out with a win. You know, you have a Pop Marboy on the roster. You have a Jero Margarita. You got all these really talented players that can test you and really give you a run for your money. But all things considered, if Houston Dynamo was not able to come out with the result tonight, I think it would be an utter disappointment for them. It would be cataclysmic, some would say, in terms of a downward trajectory for this team. But they still need to get the job done, have that professionalism about them.
To your point, as we close out this opening A block, just one win from the opening 8 games for non-Major League Soccer sides. Pittsburgh Riverhounds earlier today, 96th minute winner to down New York City FC. Scores that are going on right now were 1-1 in extra time between Philadelphia and Indy 11. 2-1 New England leads Rhode Island in extra time. Dallas beating AV Alta out of League One 3-1. 0-0 between League One Union Omaha and St. Louis City. Chicago Fire 4-0 up on Detroit in the 75th minute. And it's a 2-0 lead at halftime for El Paso Locomotive over Austin FC. The winner of that game will face the winner of this one. It's all going to boil up as the summer heat of Phoenix starts to really come around. Maybe one of the last great days we'll see on the season. A Wednesday night in the desert. Phoenix Rising and Houston Dynamo will have lineups and sound coming up.
Suzuku's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Each day at work just dragging on. Get your sports fix on the lunch break. Join Chris Schubert and producer Evan live as they give their local perspective on the world of sports. Baseball, football, and basketball. Everything has a home on their plate. It's the Lunch Break with Chris Schubert, live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060, on the KDUS 1060 app, and KDUS 1060 on YouTube. Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
You're listening to the pregame warm-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
No, nothing changes for us. I mean, because of injury, we haven't been able to put all our best players on the pitch, right? So we've patched up areas because of injuries. For us, we have yet to see our best players play together so far. And still a team that is in a way of progressing, and getting to where we need to get. But you take away all the injuries that we've had and you put a team squad, I think it's one of the best teams we have. But unfortunately, we've not been able to showcase it because of injuries. But given where we are, I'm very happy with our fitness level, and it is a game to look forward to. These are the games that these players, they want to test themselves, because this is the next level they want to go in America, right?
All those injuries, all those changes that Phoenix Rising have had to find themselves making through the first portion of the season have led to a 1-4-5 start, but we see their 11 today against Houston Dynamo on this beautiful Wednesday, May 7th. Pamadou Ka makes just 2 changes from the side that drew 1-1 in Colorado Springs on Saturday. Patrick Rakowski keeps his place behind a makeshift center back duo of Braxton Montgomery and Carl Saint. Emil Quaisho returns on the left after 3-game absence with Colin Smith on the right. The midfield remains unchanged from the weekend draw, with Akello and Aveyevu sitting above JP Skiers, while Isan Sako leads the line, Darius Formella off the left, and Darius Johnson, he makes his first start of the season. Ronan Haycoop still with us here up on the gantry at 38th in Washington. It's Braxton Montgomery, the 18-year-old, the teenager who's making his 8th consecutive start across all competitions, who's going to have a big role tonight.
The Academy kid's got a baptism by fire tonight, being thrown in a position that he doesn't play. He's not a center back. He's a fullback, and to play it against MLS competition is going to be a very tough test for the 18-year-old, like you said. But so many starts. He's got a lot of minutes in the championship this season. Probably one of the few benefits we've seen from all these injuries. You get to see a lot of Colin Smith. You got to see a lot of Braxton Montgomery, which for a coaching staff, for an organization, especially a homegrown kid like Braxton Montgomery, you love to see. You like to see those minutes at the professional level. But we're talking about a Division I side here in Houston Dynamo, and for Braxton, I'm sure he's not the biggest guy, 5'9", 150-ish.
It's tough.
It's tough, but we will get to see what he's truly made of, and he has the talent to be able to do it. He has the expectations of wanting to play at this level. So if you want to talk about it, be about it tonight for Braxton Montgomery.
The opposition in Houston Dynamo, fresh off a disappointing showing in Tinseltown, a 2-0 loss to LAFC, but Dynamo and manager Ben Olsen make a plethora of changes, including the goalkeeper in Blake Gillingham, who gets back inside after Jonathan Bond started the last couple. The right back is Felipe Andrade, who they just signed to a first-team contract today on loan from Fluminense. Ethan Bartlow and Pablo Ortiz make the center back pairing with Franco Escobar, who got sent off late on in that LAFC game, playing as the left back. Artur captains the side, fresh off his 200th MLS appearance in the middle next to Nico Ladera, who's won this cup before, as have many of these Dynamo players. Junior Urso plays on the left of the midfield, and a front three of Sebastian Kowalczyk and Eric Duenas and Gabe Siegel, 5'10", 160, the number 9. He's not typically the starter. That's Ezequiel Ponce, but Siegel gets his chance today, Ronan.
Hey, you know I love a DMV kid. Bethesda, Maryland. Played one game for Loudoun United all the way back in 2019. I believe I might have been at that game. Don't quote me on that.
Unfortunate for you.
Very unfortunate. Loudoun United in 2019 was definitely not something you'd love to watch. But regardless, Gabe's a great player, you know what I mean? Very laterally gifted, not the biggest guy, but knows how to move in space and operate. But what I really want to talk about right now is a player that is going to have a big game for Houston Dynamo with this mixed roster is going to be the captain Artur, right? The Brazilian has a bunch of games under his belt, a bunch of minutes in this tournament in Major League Soccer, all across professional environments. He's almost 30. He needs to show, hey, I'm going to captain my side. We're going to take care of business. We're not going to play down to our competition at all. We're going to take care of business tonight from 38th and Washington. That's got to be his goal and the goal for Houston Dynamo as a whole.
It'll be the 13th all-time game in the Open Cup for Houston against a lower division side. They are 8-2-2. in the previous 12 as we bring in the third member of our team tonight in Devin Henderson down on the touchline. He's got the yellow bib. He'll be following Houston along this pregame. Juan Guerra's back in town, Dev, but it's a Dynamo team that have fielded mostly first-team players. They've not gone to the next pro affiliate.
Yeah, and specifically you look at Ladero, right? One of the most experienced players in MLS history, a two-time MLS Cup champion. He's going to bring a lot of that veteran presence to this side against a very, very young Phoenix Rising side. And so when you talk about MLS experience, you talk about that level, he exudes that level, so he's going to have a big impact on this game.
Yeah, and Devin, I just want to talk about, obviously, we just mentioned Gabe Siegel getting to lead the line for Houston Dynamo. Obviously, off the bench, you have Ponce still. Do you think we're going to see him tonight, especially if Rising can keep it close? That talent is so obvious, but starting on the bench, he's still in the 18.
Yeah, and our conversation with Juan Guerra before, he said, man, we need this win, right? So they're not just going to leave those guys out there if it's not going the way that they want to. So if you see a situation where it's 60, 65th minute, and this is a 0-0 game or a 1-0 game, and Houston really wants this win to get back in form, they're going to throw those players like Ponce on. He's going to get in, add that quality, and they're going to try to run away with this one.
Now, let me tell the listeners here, Devin has a smile that is very much the equivalent of Juan Guerra's. How was that conversation pregame to share that moment?
It was great, man. I mean, we were there with him in Charleston when he won the championship game, got to reminisce about that, get a big hug from him, and just like many people here at 38th and Washington, just to see that face walking around here, this stadium that he kind of proverbially built, right? You know, first year in this stadium at this location, he goes and wins a championship. It's good to see him perusing the sidelines again.
All right, Dev, thanks. As we move along again, Houston Dynamo, a big side coming in. It's the second ever MLS team that will travel to face Phoenix Rising. The two previous games against Major League Soccer teams, Rising had 1-0 leads at half. They lost both 2-1 as we bring in Ryan Myers to talk about the occasion tonight on the Phoenix side of things, right?
Yeah, it'll be great to see how the fans and how everybody kind of responds to this amazing opportunity to play a cup game in front of an MLS side against Houston Dynamo. Like we mentioned, guys, a team that is struggling in the MLS so far with just 2 wins to the first 11 games. Rising has the opportunity tonight to make the most of this chance, try to get some form themselves in league play with just 1 win through their first 8 USL Championship games. So it'll be a fun matchup for Phoenix Rising, seeing how they can kind of get their foothold in the game, wondering if they play up to the occasion or if they kind of teeter in to their own shell. That'll be a fun dynamic to see how that goes along the course of the matchup.
Yeah, and Ryan, we were talking about, subs coming on for Houston Dynamo and kind of like a late push scenario, but for Phoenix Rising, that bench is very thin, especially in the defensive unit. We talk about the start of Braxton Montgomery. Quaisho has been out for a significant period of time, coming back in the 11. How many minutes do you expect him to really be able to put out for Phoenix Rising? We think he's going the full 90?
We hope he gets at least 60, right? I think Ryan Flood's a guy we can see playing that deputized left back role, being a left-footed player, but Quaisho is a dog. He's going to want to be on the pitch for as long as he can run. So it'll be a case of how much the side wants to play him if the coaching staff has him on a limit. I would assume, though, you get 45 to 60 from him and hopefully get another 30 or so from another player, or maybe even switch up the formation or tactics depending on the course of the matchup, deputize a left-sided center back and try to play a further forward attacking side as well.
All right, Ryan, thank you. We'll see you a little bit later on as this pregame show and the game continue. Brings up a good point, though. You get Quaisho and you get Flood back at the same time. That's a rare luxury that Phoenix have been given tonight.
Yeah, 100%. And also, too, you do have another defender on that. I think Araneda, that North Texas transplant that came over with Pa, excuse me. It's just so tough for Rising because, of course, you get these guys back and you're so happy to have them back, but still, that mental gap of coming back from injury on top of the physical, having to get reconditioned and everything like that, getting back under the bright lights in between the white lines is very tough, especially for that first time back out against an MLS side. It'll be interesting to see how Flood and Quaisho will be able to, fight their way through this game. Of course, Ryan Flood coming off the bench.
Simply put, the opponent tonight, Houston Dynamo, want to play. They are good on the ball. They are lacking solutions in the final third.
Yeah, it's almost the same issue Rising has. Is in the counterattack, they look great. Ponce's flying down lines. He looks dangerous. Everybody on this front three is just so fast and love to move laterally forward and get those crossing runs and overlaps and stuff. But if you can keep them out of transition, it's very difficult for them to be able to work out of that half-field environment, be able to break lines with passes and play through the middle of the park. That's just not their game. So for Phoenix Rising to ensure that you're not giving up the ball, upfield in that middle third especially, it'll be so important for guys like JP and Hope to be able to keep on the ball as opposed to just pointless giveaways, because those pointless giveaways going the other direction could be very dangerous, and Gabe Siegel, I'm sure, is going to want to find one in the back of the net.
Two teams that really want to find 3 points at the end of this one tonight. Two teams looking to progress here in the 110th Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. The round of 32 slowly approaching from 38th in Washington. We'll roll along here on the pregame warm-up show.
Suzuchukwu's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th in Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Each day at work just dragging on. Get your sports fix on the lunch break. Join Chris Schubert and producer Evan live as they give their local perspective on the world of sports. Baseball, football, and basketball. Everything has a home on their plate. It's The Lunch Break with Chris Schubert, live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KTUS AM 1060, on the KTUS 1060 app, and KTUS 1060 on YouTube. Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KTUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KTUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KTUS1060.com and on the KTUS 1060 app.
You're listening to the pregame warm-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Countdown to kickoff here on the pregame warm-up show, KTUS AM 1060 and Rising Radio for Phoenix Rising in the 110th Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, taking on MLS Houston Dynamo. Ryan Zagora, Ronan Haycoop here. We'll probably go a little bit later than the expected 7 o'clock kickoff because it's a national television game on CBS Sports here tonight, but we will give you the keys to that game here on the national television. We'll start, Ronan, with Phoenix Rising, who are looking to find some hustle.
Yeah, they just need to show some heart in this one. We talked about it a few minutes ago. For those just joining us, it's evident with injuries and just overall MLS to USL banter. The cards are stacked against Phoenix Rising, but you could take that and you could play with some house money and showing that heart, showing that fight, especially in those first 15 minutes. And when you do concede, that first 5 minutes after you concede, if you're Phoenix Rising, you go down 1-0, you really have to puff your chest and show, hey, you're not going to come in here and you're not going to run through us, right? You're going to have to go over us. And for Phoenix Rising, looking for that statement, it could come tonight. It would be a fantastic win, so short-sighted to be able to take out an MLS side at home, which we've talked about. Being able to win at home has been something that Phoenix Rising has not been able to do, quite frankly. So for Phoenix Rising, that key to the game is going to be showing that heart and that tenacity, wanting to win this game.
And for Houston, it's about getting ahead early and taking care of business. You're the side that's expected to win. You don't want Phoenix to stick around.
Yeah, it's the complete flip side of the coin for Houston. Is you're playing a team that doesn't have the talent, doesn't have the personnel that you do, being able to be benefiting from being a Major League Soccer side. But you're playing away. You've had a busy schedule. You haven't been back in Houston in over a week after staying in Los Angeles over the weekend. So there's going to be a lot. Having that professionalism, making sure your leaders on your team, whether it be Otor, whether it be Ponce, whoever it is, Ben Olsen, of course, from the touchline, barking those orders and making sure that you come out in those 15 minutes. You don't come out flat and you don't let a cheeky Sacco goal in early.
Player to watch. You already touched on Braxton Montgomery for Phoenix. How about the man in front of him, JP Skeers?
It's JP Skeers is going to have such a difficult job in the middle of midfield, especially with a weakened back line, especially in those two center halves. We talked about Braxton Montgomery sliding in to start in the center back position for his first time. So when you're a midfielder and you got those two center backs behind you that you know are trying to live up to the expectations for him, you want to try to bail them out as much as you can. You want to make their job as easy as possible, making sure that you're dominating in the middle of midfield, putting those tackles in and protecting the guys behind you. And we saw that. Some flashes from JP against switchbacks. He wins the ball and he's pinging it out wide and you're on the break. You have Sacco, you have Jurl early running at pace, but he needs to do that, and he needs to not just show us flashes. I need to see a solid stint from JP Skeers.
On the other end of the midfield matchup for Houston, it's Eric Duenas who makes his first start of the year, a longtime LAFC and Las Vegas Lights player, the 5'4 midfielder, playing on the wing tonight as Houston maybe looks for some supremacy in the center of the park.
Yeah, they're going to fight with those overloads. Duenas is amazing in space. You have to be at 5'4", so he's going to get in those half spaces, really make him work, and his goal is going to be dragging Montgomery, who's not used to playing in this position, right? He's going to attack the 18-year-old, try to pull him away from where he's supposed to be. Same thing with Colin Smith on that right-hand side, and probably will steer clear of Quaisho as much as he can, but don't get me wrong, Eric is going to make life difficult for anybody on that back four.
A time tonight to maybe take a peek at what this Phoenix Rising team can really be, can really do, can really work for against a Houston Dynamo side that won this cup competition just 2 years ago. It's the U.S. Open Cup, the 110th edition. Tonight, the round of 32, live from 38th and Washington. Kickoff is coming up here. This was the Rising Radio pregame warm-up on KDUS AM 1060.
Suzuku's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app. Each day at work just dragging on. Get your sports fix on the lunch break. Join Chris Schubert and producer Evan live as they give their local perspective on the world of sports. Baseball, football, and basketball. Everything has a home on their plate. It's the lunch break with Chris Schubert, live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060, on the KDUS 1060 app, and KDUS 1060 on YouTube. Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Not just any other night in the Valley of the Sun. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup brings history and opportunity for two teams. Phoenix Rising under the lights and playing the underdog tonight, hosting MLS side Houston Dynamo, who arrive needing form amid top-flight struggles. It's the round of 32 from 38th in Washington. Ryan Sikora with Kevin Cardez up in the gantry here tonight on KDUS AM 1060 and Rising Radio for this Open Cup duel. It's Ryan Myers and Devin Henderson down on the touchlines. Kev, it's Phoenix's first home clash against MLS opposition since 2014 with a spot in the last 16 on the line.
Yeah, they haven't had a chance to host a Major League Soccer team since 2014 at home. They lost against LA Galaxy all the way back in the Arizona United days. Now they have a chance to take off their first win from a Tier 1 side in Houston Dynamo. They were up against LA Galaxy at one point. They were up last year against Seattle Sounders on the road. They couldn't close the gate against either of them. Now they have a chance to finally get it done in the round of 32, advance to the round of 16, which would tie their longest ever cup run in the U.S. Open Cup. Now we'll see if they can get it done.
So on the Rising side, we'll start with Ryan Myers. It's Phoenix facing an uphill climb with no available first-team center backs in the starting lineup tonight.
Yeah, Ryan, like you mentioned, injuries have plagued the start of Phoenix Rising season of 2025 thus far. Like you mentioned, they have no center backs truly playing in this team today, but that's what this is all about. It's the MLS Cup, it's U.S. Open Cup, excuse me. It's the magic of the cup. And over on that Houston Dynamo bench, Juan Guerra knows better than anybody else that anything can happen in these one-off games with Phoenix Rising.
Yep, Juan Guerra certainly knows. Myers, thank you. It's a chance for Houston to find some footing with a familiar face down on the touchline. For that, we bring in our Devin Henderson.
Yeah, we talked to Juan earlier, and we asked him, do you feel the difference at the MLS level? He said, absolutely, man. The attention to detail is completely different. Like we said, Houston's in a rough stretch. They're going to try to turn that around. They're going to hope the details are the difference today.
Dev, thanks. He'll keep an eye on all things Juan Guerra and all things Houston Dynamo. Maybe a little bit more here tonight, but Kevin, representational opportunity for Phoenix Rising, who are in a slide, searching for something. They think they might have a chance to find it tonight.
That's the case for both teams here, Ryan. Dynamo and Rising not doing their best in the table in their respective league play. Both of them want to stake their claim in the U.S. Open Cup. For Phoenix, this is the only competition, Jaeger Cup aside, as is their first year playing it with the rest of the championship, in which they've never lifted the trophy at the end of it. They have every other trophy in their cabinet besides the U.S. Open Cup. In a year where they are 10th in the West, only 7 points, just one win in total this year, none of which have been at home. They haven't won since September of last year. This is a big opportunity to get back in it against a really, really big-time team.
It's the first Wednesday night game in Phoenix since September of 2023. A shade under 80 degrees in downtown at kickoff. Phoenix in the black retro change kit tonight. At home is Houston in a beaming bright orange shirt with white shorts. The goalies in green for Rising, Patrick Rakowski. In light blue, Blake Gillingham for Houston. Referee crew is led by Abdu Njai, who is the 2024 USL Championship referee. They're in yellow tonight. Rising will kick off first, headed towards the north end, and off we go with Hope Avayevu dropping one back into this windy night with Carl Saint and flicked along by Noble Okello. It goes right into the midst of Gillingham, the goalkeeper for Houston Dynamo. There'll be a chance for both of these teams who really want to play. Dynamo like to build, they like to draw you in and break with pace.
Yeah, Dynamo likes to build, but they score on the counter. That's their big thing. 52% possession on the year, but it's very up and down. They will pummel teams that don't have the quality to keep the ball from them, but better teams really struggle to not have the lion's share of the possession.
30 seconds in, a ball over the top for Houston Dynamo's Sebastian Kowalczyk, and now they'll build. Junior Urso in the attacking half. Everybody is there. It'll be that kind of night for Phoenix. Bunker down, sit in, defend. Overlapping run, a touch forward from Nico Ladero looking for service and winning the first corner kick of the evening. Sun still has yet to set here. That's what summer months will do in Phoenix. We've played the first minute. A scoreless start, but the first chance for anybody to break, as Dynamo will have one on the far side. Outswung ball off the left foot of the 36-year-old Uruguayan Nico Ladero. In the air as it drives towards the penalty spot, flicked along, bouncing around and cleared by Carl Saint. Kept alive by Kowalczyk for Houston. Searching ball wide right, a chance to roam now. Dynamo lifting, back post, arriving is Ladero, can't keep it in touch. And no, he did. It's corralled by Rakowski, who was hounded. It just about stayed in. The wind may have kept that one alive by the byline. Rakowski couldn't win it out of the air, but then he was shoved away by an orange shirt. It's a free kick for Phoenix.
It's going to be one of those nights for Phoenix. This is an interesting starting 11 for a lot of reasons, injury being the big one, but you see Darius Johnson, he'll be the one who starts up top on the right for Phoenix, and to me, I think that would happen either way, injuries aside. He's a really high-intensity presser. They need guys like that all night long. Guys who can just get out and defend, stick in, and be athletic for as long as possible. Colin Smith, he'll take a touch. He was on the Team of the Week this most recent edition of it, and that's a big deal. That's his first appearance, I think, in the entire championship for him in his career, and he has had a fantastic run of form as of late. It's guys like him and DJ that will sort of lead the defensive pressure.
Third minute, Rising, passing side to side. It's Montgomery, Carl Saint, left side, defensive half of the pitch, looking for room against the Dynamo press. And now they switch it. Montgomery nods along Smith. Looking down the line he goes. It's a touch for Darius Johnson, who makes his first start of the season. Backwards pass and a foul. As he tried to find the underlapping run of Smith, he was taken to ground by Kowalczyk. Houston Dynamo 2-5-4 in Major League Soccer this year. That's good for 10 points, 14th out of 15 Western Conference teams. A slow start for a side that have played in the playoffs the last couple of years under Ben Olsen, third-year head coach. Montgomery. Okello driving a ball forward into the box, headed away by Pablo Ortiz for Houston. Kept in touch, and Dynamo have it with their captain Artur. Skipping a line, won by Okello, feet of Formello. Formello in for Okello. Okello, heavy touch, taken off of it by Ortiz. And Dynamo clear only as far as the midfield stripe with Carl Saint.
It's going to be moments like those that'll define the night for Phoenix. Can they turn opportunity into points on the board? That's what's really eluded them over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it's something that they didn't struggle to do in the lead up to this season. They scored so much, so often in bunches. 4-4 draw was what really indicated what was the kind of team this was going to be against El Paso. Just in week 2, they've really struggled to score as of late. Those quality chances haven't hit the back of the net. They need them to be points tonight.
Patience so far from Rising. Formella, heels on the touchline, left side, midfield. Back he goes for Saint. Rising have had 62% of the ball through the opening 4 minutes of this game. A side that has not won at home in 228 days. They'll look to do it against an MLS team tonight. Escobar a touch, middle of the park for Houston. Now Artur, Siegel dropping in the striker, and wide it goes again for Franco Escobar, who was sent off at the weekend against LAFC. A wild exchange of 2 yellow cards that saw him depart in the 95th minute of the 2-0 loss. Ortiz will stand on the ball. Rising, not eager to press. Right it goes. A touch now for Felipe Andrade, who's on loan from Fluminense in Brazil. He was signed just today with a first-team deal. Was on loan with the next pro team, Houston Dynamo 2. Artur dropping in, skipping lines, a good touch. Back it goes for Bartlow, the center back. Middle of the park now, Urso. Taken off of it by Skeers, that's a foul. Middle of the park, and JP Skeers steps in front. A little bit of dark arts early on from both of these teams as Houston play quickly, Kev.
That's what you're going to want to do. Houston is the better team in this duel. That's not contestable. They've put out a starting 11 that's quality. They have more quality on the bench. That's what Rising lacks. They don't have much left on the bench already. The game hasn't even begun. And you know that Sacco's going to have to go 90. Your striker, your other French counterpart, Remy Cabral, is out on red card suspension, serving it from the last U.S. Open Cup game. It's all these little things. Houston is the better team, but you can get under their skin. And if you can do it early enough and establish your presence in the game, you'll have a chance. And all you need is just a chance.
Foul on Sacco as Ortiz tried to defend well. Abdou Njai, the referee tonight, gives out just under 4 yellow cards a game. The rest of the crew, the AR1 on the near side is Noah Kenyawani. Clarence Clark on the far. The fourth official is Christian Campo Hernandez. Round of 32, U.S. Open Cup. One of the last games of this Tuesday-Wednesday slate that will see the final 16 teams in America's oldest competition. A touch for Duenas, and back for the center back, Ethan Bartlow. And now on the right with Escobar, attacking half for Houston. Good movement to find Duenas. Defended by Saint, away from the frame. Spinning away is Dynamo. Driving in, cutting wide, looking away, and clearing away is Phoenix. It was good defensive stuff from Rising. A long ball over the top now for Johnson to chase. Well dealt with by Andrade, and out of touch for a Dynamo throw. 7th minute, 0-0.
That's what DJ's going to do all day long. Just chase, just run. He might be the fastest guy on the entire team. He hasn't really had a chance to feature and be that guy, but this is his opportunity now. We'll see exactly what happens, but if DJ can chase and press, he'll have a chance.
Ball wide, Bartlow will carry it into the attacking half. Rising sit in their shell. Right side, a space to go for Escobar, cutting onto his left, looking for room past Cuecho. Does well to find Artur, and now Urso. Artur again, skips the ball. It's a good one into the box. Here's Duenas! Good stop. Rakowski cleared it well to the first post, and Eric Duenas, a tidy turn from the 5'4" midfielder, could not find the back of the net.
Rakowski had what I'd say is a legendary performance against FC Tulsa in the last round. It might have been his best performance in USL Championship, not play, but against the USL Championship side. He'll have to do it again tonight. Lightning has to strike twice.
Middle of the park. Kowalczyk driving right side, lays it wide for Duenas, defended well by Cuecho. Duenas cuts a first-time ball, skipped beyond by Siegel, cleared away by Akello. And sitting in deep again is Phoenix. They concede a throw in on the left side, attacking third. Dynamo with the ball. Thrown in quickly, now taking their time. Houston. Andrade, Kowalczyk, looping cross up for Siegel. Easy for Rakowski in the center of his frame. And Phoenix win it again.
This is a Phoenix side that has interesting experience, not just against MLS competition, but Carl-Fred Saint has played for the FC Dallas first team a handful of times. Darius Formella, who will help lead his line tonight, has played Champions League football earlier in his career. There's extremely vaunted cup competition experience between these ranks. Now it's up to them to turn it into something on the field. And if those leaders can put it out there and sort of lead this team to the promised land, it could be really special.
Phoenix with the ball, 9th minute. It's a Houston team as well that have 14 winners of this cup competition, 10 with the team 2 years ago. 4, most of them won it 3 years ago with Orlando City. Duenas himself won it last year with LAFC. Sacco nodding along a header, too far for Johnson. It escapes the grasp of Darius Johnson, whom again makes his first start of the season, 6th appearance of the year for DJ. Over the top, Montgomery shuffles well. Saint wins it for Phoenix Rising. Fans, you can dive deeper into the thrills and drama of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Join the conversation on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Open Cup. 0-0 right now, 10th minute. Rakowski on it for Rising. Montgomery shuffles play. Phoenix have it in their own box. Rakowski sidesteps pressure and finds Braxton Montgomery on the right side of their defensive shape. Tries to skip a line. It's defended well by Houston. It'll go all the way out of touch for a Rising goal kick. Dynamo, a tough nut to crack defensively. They were the 3rd best defensive team in the Western Conference last year. It's been a slower start for them this year. That's part of the reason they're so far down in the Western Conference.
Patrick Grakowski in his own right, not to go back to what I was saying.
No, go ahead.
He played in the Bundesliga.
Wow.
One of the best leagues in the world.
Over
Just
the top
all
for
goes
Smith.
back. There's enough in this Phoenix lineup tonight to say, I've been here before, I know I can do this. Just give me 90 minutes of doing that.
Well, even if there wasn't, it always would be a question of character and how much you're mentally up and ready for a game
I do
like
it?
this. And I think they think they can. I think they think they can. Is that how that works?
I think that they think that they can do it.
Did you carry the 2 there?
Well, I wrote it down.
11th minute, Ortiz on the ball for Houston. They're led by Ben Olsen, who's won this competition as a player and twice as a coach with 2 different teams, one of the more established American coaches in the sport. Ball into the box, touchdown by Duenas, good combination, Escobar, Duenas again, swept up by Noble Akello. Heavy touch from Akello, long lanky legs driving for the ball. Last touched off of Formella, and Phoenix conceded a throw, still in the attacking third of Houston Dynamo.
That's a Noble Akello that needs to feature tonight. He has to be a lion, just has to attack the entire time. Just be an animal, win everything on the ground, and if you can't win it, at least try.
Ball over the top, Artur nodding away. Cleared by Quaisho, no nonsense from Phoenix Rising. It's another day, another new backline for Phoenix. 11th game in all competitions this year for Rising. Emil Quaisho paired with Carl Saint, Braxton Montgomery, and Colin Smith makes that the 10th different backline combination that Phoenix have used this year. Escobar, the right back, finding the feet now. Moving along is Duenas, skipping out of trouble. One deep, Avayevu still with Houston, nodded into the space. Crossed low, Siegel left it, good combination. Rising, clear their lines, Scarce. Nobody home except Ortiz. Nico Laderos hardly had a touch. Slipping is Pablo Ortiz, and Sacco's taking his touch wide. Houston did well to gang up and drive him wide. Ortiz wins the ball back, and back for his goalkeeper Gillingham. Skips it up over the top for Ortiz again. Heels on the right touchline in the defensive third. Artur is Rising. Look to pin them in, and now he spins out of trouble. Duenas, 2 touches. Right side Escobar in his own half, 13th minute. A scoreless start, really no testing moment so far. Junior Urso, who is 36 years old starting tonight, Junior Urso. He played with Charlotte last year, where one Pamadou Ka was an assistant manager. Ball over the top for Siegel, he's offside. Eager run from Gabe Siegel as he scores. And Abdu Njai will have a conversation with Houston Dynamo's number 7 team. The flag came up on the near side from Noah Kenyawani.
That run from Sacco, the touch had to be taken wide, had to get out of traffic there. 3 guys on his heels. Sacco's got a lot to prove tonight as he does this season. 27 years old, he's played with Nice, he's played with Strasbourg out in Ligue 1 in France. And here he is at 27 years old in his athletic prime in the USL Championship, 2nd tier stateside. Has a lot to prove and a lot to play for and a lot of value to recoup. He wants to get back to that top level of soccer. On that same vein of things to prove, Quaisho's played in a US Open Cup final. You know he wants that one back.
Avayevu gets a touch, spinning wide right. Johnson inside the box, overlapping run coming from Smith. Darius Johnson drives the ball back post just over the head of Darius Formella, but that's good stuff from Darius Johnson in some space. 14th minute, Phoenix found a moment. It's a goal kick for Houston Dynamo.
If Formella was 7'5", that one goes into the back of the net. Unfortunately, he's not 7'5", couldn't quite get up there. And I don't know. That's the moment. That's the moment. And those are going to be the ones that you might look back on like, I wish it was just there. 1 foot lower.
So if
quality from Johnson, though.
Darek Formella was Wemby, he'd have a chance.
Close.
Scarce, backwards he goes. Touch for Quaisho. First game in 3 for Emil Quaisho. Played the full 120 in the cup win against FC Tulsa, but has been out with an ankle injury that's plagued him throughout the majority of this season. Montgomery, wide right, Smith, heels on the touchline, taken off of it, Johnson, one deep, Kowalczyk, space for Artur, advantage played by the referee as Kowalczyk was shoved to ground. Urso probing, Duenas attacking, spinning away, and dropping it backward for Franco Escobar. It's a Houston team who their coach described themselves as toothless on Saturday night after a 2-0 defeat to LAFC, in which they put 4 shots up all game, none on target. Juan Guerra said it in the midweek as well. That little by little, this Dynamo side are finding their ways. They're still trying to find their best, though. Ball over the top, swept up by Saint, pressured a little bit. Rakowski clears with his left. Over the head of Artur, nodding along is Sacco. No run from Formella. And easy for Ethan Bartlow, the Washington native, at center back. Artur, under the captain's armband off his left shoulder, ball on his right foot. Orange cleats, orange socks, orange shirt, white shorts. Escobar takes his time, drives one into the feet of Quayshow, cleared away, and Pamadou Ka has stepped off his cooler. What looks to be a black sweater with a gray suit. One of his sleeker looks of the year, his counterpart Ben Olsen in a hoodie. So maybe that shows you the importance of this game for the two sides. Duenas, wide right, Escobar. And deeper he goes for Artur. Everybody in the attacking portion of the pitch for Dynamo. Siegel spends his time surging along. He's fouled late by Avayevu. It's a free kick coming for Houston Dynamo. 0-0, just over a quarter of an hour into this one on a picture-perfect, windy Wednesday night.
Phoenix has gotten better in these situations, but they're not perfect. Still striving to be solid on set-piece defense and attack. They want to convert more. They want to deny conversion. Even more than that, the defense has been the big point of emphasis. Patrick Rakowski talked about how it's just about being more communicative and growing as a team. Tonight we'll see how far they've grown as a team and if it matters when the ball hits the box.
It'll be taken by Ladero. One-man wall of Avayevu. Ball is 30 yards away from the frame of Rakowski, just nestled on the edge of the 18-yard box on the right side of Dynamo's attack. A crossing situation. Ladero lifted up and into the back of the net. One ball over the top, and Dynamo capitalize on a set piece. And it's 1-0 Houston, 17th minute.
Haven't grown enough. I'd say that's the answer. Still shaky in defense. Unmarked men on the back post, and that's been sort of the theme of almost every goal that they've given up on set pieces. Corner kicks, free kicks, anything. Unmarked men, back post, not talking enough, not using their size on the back post to block off those guys who are crashing into the box. Not enough.
It had been coming. 66% of the ball for Dynamo. 45 passes have been played in Rising's final third. Phoenix have had just 5. So it had been a dominant start by the Dynamo. The MLS side lead 1-0 on the road in the Valley. And now Phoenix, they've got to get some momentum going. No stranger to chasing in 2025. Smith. Montgomery. And Saint. Montgomery, Okello, Montgomery again. Rising looking for some kind of simple staccato to stabilize this game. Montgomery's header. Into space for Saint, who's now played as a center back 3 consecutive games for Phoenix.
I mean, they have none of them. Suddenly, he's not playing in the midfield anymore. He's playing as a center back. He's done it before, but it was earlier in his career, and it hasn't been done in a while. He's really settled into the role of center back, Saint has.
Sure.
And he's gotten better at it.
They've given the goal to the new boy, Felipe Andrade, who, as we said earlier, was just loaned in today from Fluminense on a more first-team level basis. Assisted by Ladero's set piece. Center mid to left back. Smith took a touch, took it last, throw in for Houston. Elsewhere across the Open Cup right now, it's 3-2. Austin have reversed the tie to take the lead and likely the win against El Paso Locomotive. 2-0 St. Louis beat Omaha, 4-0 Chicago beat Detroit. We've had just one cup set today. Pittsburgh Riverhounds beating New York City. That's the only non-MLS team to win so far. Philadelphia Union and Indy 11 are in a shootout right now that could see a second team win. One game still to come, San Jose Earthquakes, Sacramento Republic. 1-0 Houston, 20th minute. That shootout right now, Jovan Lukic just scored for Philly. It's 5-4. Should be over. Artur sweeps through the midfield well, nods along, a touch for Kowalczyk, and back for Bartlow. So silky smooth in tight spaces is Dynamo. Forward ball for Sacco though. Here's Phoenix. Isan Sacco running into space, cleared by Bartlow. Too many bodies around him. So very organized At this point in time, it feels the away side is, Kev.
At a certain point, you got to think, when do you put Damian Rivera on the pitch? Starts on the bench again. One of the best dribblers in the championship, has the quality and the technicality to get it done. When do you put him on the pitch?
Sacco, touch off his chest, back for Akello. Tight space, taking off the ball. Good stuff, Siegel. Lodeiro, turning. Artur, that's just so beautiful. Now Houston solved that space there. Bartlow, pretty move. Escobar, middle of the park. Down the right side, and back for Bartlow. Rising, they trail again. They've won just once in the last 200+ days. Their last win against San Antonio, but before that you have to go back to October 12th of a year ago. Escobar slaloming through space into the attacking zone. Phoenix had it, then lost it. Kowalczyk turning onto his right, looking for room, crossing for Escobar in the box. Nowhere to go, everybody back for Rising except for Sacco. And returning space for Artur, 21st. Whipped left, the goal scorer Andrade. And out for Kowalczyk, spins off Montgomery, crossing back post, cleared away by Quayshow. No nonsense from Emmy. You have to think, man, Rising maybe trying to solve the next 5-10 minutes, keep it at 1-0.
Let it settle. Let the momentum sort of settle down. Right now, not only are you probably upset, but you start to think about, how do we get our goal? Haven't had a quality chance yet. You have moments where it looked like it might have been close, but still not all the way there. At some point, you have to find your moment, but now it's just calm down, take a deep breath, sit in, defend. We'll solve that problem when we have a chance on the counter.
Another set piece for the 2023 Cup winners. Corner kick to be taken by Lodeiro. Now look to swing one in with his left from the near right side of Dynamo's attack. Up 1-0, Lodeiro's service, right on towards the 6. Good stop, Rakovsky spilled on the second chance and saved again by Rakovsky. He nearly gave Dynamo another opportunity, but pounced on it and rolls it out quickly for Colin Smith. Houston dropping deep and dropping well. Over the top for Johnson. Will the ball sit up kindly for DJ? It will. He's onside. He's clipped one in. It's bounced around and into the hands of Gillingham. It was nearly a wild, wacky own goal. It rolled off the backside of Ortiz into the leg of Urso, who knocked it towards his goalkeeper Gillingham, who scoops it up. Bad distribution. Quayshow couldn't take the risk, didn't win it. He's down on the ground. Slide tackle scarce. Dynamo throw in. And Emil Quayshow is slow to get up. Referee's checking on him. Quayshow arms out to his side saying, hey, that's a foul.
I think it was too.
Ortiz. Andrade. Artur, center midfielder, dropping deepest of anybody, trying to facilitate, pushing one wide right, swept up by Quayshow into the middle of the park. Akello couldn't win it, didn't get the duel right, and now Lodeiro with room. Nico Lodeiro down the line for Junior Urso. Rakovsky off his line, slides in, and makes the play like a shortstop out there. 24th, still 1-0 Houston. Really the lone chance of this game. And set piece service from Lodeiro to Andrade to open things up in the 17th.
Other than that, fairly sound defense. Rising has done everything that you need to do to compete and stay in a match against a team that you're objectively worse than quality-wise. It's just that set piece. Unmarked men.
Smith forward for Phoenix. On a heap, looking into the box. Johnson a touch, bouncing around. Johnson goes for acrobatics. Aveyevu! There's a foul. And they say Darius Johnson took the goalkeeper Gillingham out. He went up in the air with his feet. Gillingham went up to make himself big. And in the 24th, it looked like that one went right into the midriff to Johnson's cleat. And he's been given a yellow card, almost certainly for dangerous play, Kev.
That's tough. I mean, it's a foul, it's a yellow, but he went up for the bike. It's not like he was trying to kick anyone in the chest, but he goes up, and that's just kind of what happens as he spirals backwards. But it kind of gives you some solace knowing that at the end of the day, if it would have gone in, it wouldn't have counted anyways.
Myers, you're right there. What did you see? Ryan Myers down on the touchline.
Yeah, it was a close one, guys. Obviously, we know it was trying to happen with Darius Johnson with a smooth overhead kick, but it was tight, 50-50, but it's probably the right call. Unfortunately for Hope, though, not able to get on the end of that and put the ball in the back of the net either.
And you were right there for the set piece as well. What did you see in Phoenix's defensive stuff there?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of uplifting from a lot of the experienced guys. We know that the pairing in center back position is not a familiar one, but we see Colin Smith, Emmy Quaishel, and JP Skeers uplifting their teammates right now, which has been very helpful and hopefully can give Rising some more comfort as they go to this part of the match.
All right, thanks. Formella on the ball for Phoenix. Backwards he goes in the 25th. 1-0 Houston. The 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup ramps up over the coming weeks as the tournament's trophy comes into view. Watch as this round's victors take their next step towards a title in the round of 32 on CBS Sports and Paramount Plus. Rising, flowing forward down the right side, looking for service. It's cleared away. Well by Houston, Rising with a throw. Lazy from Formella, won by Quaishel, along for Skeers, settled by Montgomery, and now Saint. It was a good sequence from Phoenix.
They'll have their moments. The tempo will shift their way. That's just how a soccer game goes. But it's just about, can they capitalize on the momentum, and will they do it when the game is still attainable? That's the main question. We'll see if they can answer it.
Smith down the line on the right side for Johnson. Ortiz clears it up and wins a goal kick for Dynamo. Houston team that, other than that last loss on the weekend to LAFC, had been playing better. They had an undefeated month of April, have collected 8 points from an available 15 in the last 5 games, after the first 6 saw them collect just 2 of an available 18. Finding their footing in the busy MLS Western Conference, where everybody seems ambitious in 2025. Dynamo's team that no strangers to Open Cup success, won it twice, 2018, 2023. Phoenix on the ball, 27th minute. Quaishel looking over the top, trying to reward the run of Formella, who is not quick enough. Bartlow kept in touch, just barely. Rising must defend. Avayevu lost it. Artur has it. Urso on it now. Whipped wide left, Andrade. And Ortiz. And in their own 18. And Artur, heavy touch, invites a man. Whipped wide, Bartlow.
Front three is working really hard for Phoenix. Formella, Sacco, and DJ all on the chase. Formella's running so hard. You can tell he wants to get there. It's all about, will they catch someone off their line?
Heavy ball, Andrade, good touch, turned away. Kowalczyk, Ladero, slips through Akello and is fouled. Noble Akello comes right through Nico Ladero's legs. Winner of this one will face Austin FC, who surged from 2-0 down to get a 3-2 win against El Paso Locomotive. Gillingham a touch in his own box for Dynamo, 1-0 up. Wide right, Escobar. Quaishel slips. Franco Escobar. And Akello again comes through the backside of a Dynamo man. That was Ladero. And there's no more. That's the last warning for Noble Akello, who's had a couple of moments just teetering on the edge of somewhere, is the big 6'5" Canadian. He hasn't seen a yellow card in a while, and it was, I think, Detroit back on April 12th. He's been a little bit nicer the last couple of weeks for referees.
Yeah, he had a run from Monterey Bay in March 29th, San Antonio April 6th, and Detroit on April 12th. He had 3 straight bookings, 3 yellow cards out of the pocket. The last 4, he's been yellow card free. I'm gonna knock on wood. The last time I spoke about something like this, it happened in the opposite direction. So I'll knock on wood, but he's been better, more tidy, but arguably hasn't gotten into enough challenges and duels.
Ball behind, Kowalczyk, room to run down the left for Dynamo, into the attacking third. Here's Kowalczyk, slipping, serving, shunting the ball into the feet of Urso. Wide right, Escobar, finding Duenas by the byline, crossing in, a good stop by Rakowski. At the first post, a diving, flicked along header by Gabe Siegel, who's been starved for service to start this game, despite Dynamo having 67% of the ball. Rakowski for Saint. 29th minute into the 30th. Skeers looping ball over the top in his own box. Finds Montgomery's feet. Okello, one time. Smith. Patient from Phoenix Rising. Backwards they go, Montgomery.
DJ loves that inside soul touch that yo-yos out, gives him the opportunity to go left or right. And he's so fast that he can make anything work.
Formella turning for Rising. They went right to left. Quayshow heels on the touchline. Touched away by two defenders. Can he dance his way beyond? He did, but too heavy of a touch. Was looking for Formella's run. Throw in for Dynamo. Defensive half of the pitch.
Really, really thin bench for Phoenix. Start to wonder, where does the intensity lie when you have to go to the substitute table?
It's really just Damian Rivera in terms of senior attackers, but he's been dealing with a contusion the last couple of weeks. Sacco fouls Ladero in the middle of the park. He's active, Nico Ladero. Other players on the bench for Rising. Ryan Flood makes his return. Alex Araneta continues to be a fixture in the substitute service for Rising. Young midfielder Jamison Ping, Pierce Rizzo, and the 16-year-old Cyrus Kowal. Urso, Ladero, good first-time ball on Draji, heavy touch. Johnson won it back for Rising, but then gave it away. Dynamo's got a plethora of options they can turn to off the bench, as is the case with most MLS sides in this tournament.
And that's just really what it comes down to when you have the money and the investment that goes into a Major League Soccer side. It cost almost $500 million to start a franchise today.
It's expensive. You could afford it, right?
Well, you know, it's pocket change, but I'm busy that day.
31st, 1-0 Houston. Johnson driving through for Rising. Turning backwards, Quayshow on a foot race. He'll beat Gabe Siegel to the ball. Montgomery for Phoenix, center circle, whipped wide right, Smith a touch, off his right sole, and backwards he goes for Saint. Quayshow. I feel like Phoenix, Kev, have had plenty of the ball in their own half, but haven't been able to break lines. Quayshow turning it over right on cue, cut off by Duenas. Quayshow, poor touch, wins it back from Duenas. And Formella, and again, back to their own backside with Saint.
When you have such a staunch opposing defense, it's hard to break that final third. Those touches, the passes, and the opportunities you get are so valuable because they're going to be much less frequent than normal. Championship level play is going to be way, way, way different than this. The away attacking third has only had 21.8% of the ball in it, 43.5% for Phoenix Rising's defensive third.
Avayevu is fouled as Rising restart quickly. Okello's dropped beneath the center backs. Saint. Avayevu heels on the touchline for the number 10. In behind for Formella. He's onside. He's turned away by Bartlow. Formella ducks towards the middle of the park, looking for room, crossing up and over. Sacco tried to chase. Escobar cleared. Urso and head tennis. Ladero with Artur. On the same page, Johnson wins it high. No foul. Okello went for goal. Denied, diving to his right by Gillingham. It's a good stop from Blake Gillingham, and Phoenix nearly pounced.
Those are those moments where you really can't win. In that one, it felt like Noble had all the time in the world to maybe set and get a full foot on it. Not really a powerful strike from him there, but then if you wait a second and the possession gets jarred, you go, why didn't you go quicker? It's hard. It's hard to judge that one.
Carl Saint shoving Gabe Siegel to the ground. Denied an attacking opportunity for Houston Dynamo.
Hey, that's Captain Carl Fred Saint tonight.
It's true. He's a member of this Phoenix Rising Leadership Council. No Pop Marboy in the lineup today. Thought it might go to Patrick Rakovsky, but it was Saint who wore the armband in the 1-1 draw in Colorado Springs at the weekend. We got Devin Henderson down on the touchline. That Siegel move is something that Juan Guerra, he's been asking his number 9 to move a lot.
Yeah, I watched Juan Guerra during that bicycle kick yellow card they were sorting out. He went over to talk to Gabe Siegel, seemingly to tell him and Nick Ladero, hey, play on different lines. Let's see if we can drag these two center backs onto different lines, make them have to communicate. Obviously, like we've said, an inexperienced back line, so they're going to try to make them have to figure out some different moves out.
Dev, thanks. Avayevu taking off the ball. That's a foul right in front of Rising's technical area. Phoenix have a free kick. What do you make of that, right? Asking Siegel and Ladero to find different spaces to test the Phoenix backline?
Well, you want to find the weak point, right? You're looking at a really unorthodox and also irregular back four for Phoenix. You have an 18-year-old Braxton Montgomery who's an academy kid. You have a center back who's not a center back. Carl's played center back earlier in his career, but not as of late. Find that point where it's the pressure point. Where can we get through that back line and make it an issue? And then you have to make Phoenix start to change, think, morph, and find their space.
Quayshow over the top, Sacco offside. Nissan Sacco a step soon, defended well by Pablo Ortiz, the Colombian.
I'm a little surprised we didn't see Colin Smith slide in as the center back tonight instead of Braxton. Colin Smith was fair in his debut as a center back earlier in the year for Phoenix, and now he gets an opportunity to play across from his left back partner, Emi Quayshow, so maybe just a consistency thing.
And maybe Quayshow being in the team tonight is the reason why they don't shove Montgomery out left and Smith at center back, because they have him and two left backs.
And you don't want to collapse it, right? That's been their big issue. Their shape has collapsed when they have one side that has someone out of position, whether it's Harvey Neville, Braxton Montgomery, at times Colin Smith playing out of position. When you compromise your back line in the sake of let's have our center backs be stronger, you run the risk of not being able to access half of the channels. Some of the half spaces are inaccessible as an entire team, and that ruins your attack. You need the entire pitch open tonight. That was likely, at least in my head, the move to put Quayshow on the left, Colin on the right, and let Braxton Montgomery ride as the center back.
Sneaky ball over the top. Johnson scoops it up for Rising. 36th minute, 1-0 Houston. Phoenix on the prowl. Smith dancing, serving, away by Artur. Second ball, Skeers, kept in the attacking half, and now Skeers into the attacking third, driving, slipping, and it went off him last. He can't believe it. Throwing for Dynamo. And is he going to get a caution here for kicking the ball late? No, just a talking to by Abdou Njai, making sure it doesn't happen again. It's a good referee. Don't jump at the first bit, jump at the second. Last game is live in the Open Cup round of 32. San Jose Earthquakes, a second-minute goal from Amal Pellegrino. At home, they lead Sacramento Republic. So as it stands, just one USL Championship or USL League One team picking up a win in these 16 round of 32 games. Houston pegged in, Ortiz pegging long, cleared high into the air, one out of the sky by Montgomery, touchdown by Kowalczyk. Colin Smith took him off of it. Good one-on-one duel from Phoenix's right back. 37th minute, they switch play, it's poor. It's a chance to run for Duenas. Driving one into the left, run for Kowalczyk is too late. Phoenix got lucky. Duenas couldn't attack it at the proper angle.
A poor lazy pass there almost does Phoenix in. Those are the mistakes that you can't go into halftime with. Rakowski already has 3 saves tonight. He's conceded 1. I'd argue it really wasn't his fault off that set piece. All 3 of his saves, dives. 2 inside the box.
Quayshow fouled, not a dive. There's definitely contact from Eric Duenas. Another free kick for Phoenix. One shot, it was on target for Rising. That was the Okello try. 5 shots, 4 on target. They've tested heavily tonight at 62% of the ball, Houston Dynamo. They've had 7 players on their roster with at least 2 final third entries. That's a lot, almost the full team. They have been the dominant side, as you'd expect the MLS team coming into this one tonight. Smith, wide right. Through on Jaji, you want to throw. Okello will take it, look to take it quick. And he'll find Sacco dropping in. Lots of space for Isan. Whip wide right for Okello. Looking again for Sacco's run. Another throw in for Phoenix on the right side in the attacking third. 6 minutes plus stoppage time to play in this opening half from 38th and Washington. Phoenix lose it deep. And now Siegel getting a touch. Spinning away from Skeers. Dropping for Artur. And now Ladero. And wide left Kowalczyk.
Spirited pressure from Phoenix. They have been so good to clean up their own mistakes. Feels like throw-ins are just bad news for Phoenix. They're off that restart slow. Houston Dynamo often the first one to that ball off the throw, but man, Phoenix just swarming after every little misstep. They've made up for almost everything that they've done wrong.
Artur, Siegel, Duenas. It seems the only real difference is organization between these two teams. Now, obviously, clinical nature and technical ability, but Houston's been the much more organized side. wide left. Running is Andrade. 1-2 touch. Lodeiro, Kowalczyk, head up. Back for Artur. 9 behind the ball for Phoenix Rising, plus the goalkeeper Rakovsky. Bartlow into the box, Duenas, too heavy. And Rakovsky inside his own 6. He'll play quickly, looking for the run of Sacco, dealt with by Ortiz. Second ball, Formella, it went up high. No dangerous play, says the referee. Quayshow winning it. Duenas having it. And Phoenix concede a free kick. Referee played advantage as Eric Duenas was fouled by Hope Avayevu.
The boot almost catches the right jaw of Darius Formella, and he just feels that the whistle can't fall Phoenix's way. Not really slanted one way or the other, but Phoenix hasn't been the beneficiary of much from the officiating crew tonight. Phoenix just has to dig. They have to find a way to get to halftime, preserve what's here, and note that it could be worse.
9 fouls to 5. Phoenix have the 9. Ball down the line. Crossing deep is Houston. Quayshow under pressure. Can he solve it? High win. Quayshow cutting to the byline. Now at the touchline, scooping it out for a throw. Had no support. 41st, 1-0 Dynamo. 17th minute goal. Felipe Andrade.
You noted organization. That's sort of just the difference between an MLS team and a USL Championship team. One's a covetable location that people want to make a career out of. That longevity matters. We saw it when Rhode Island came to town and they just beat Phoenix off of, 12 months versus 12 weeks of experience together in a team that had molded an identity and became a franchise together. This is a still new and budding Phoenix team, an entire reset and nearly rebrand personality and culture-wise. Houston Dynamo, they have more than that.
We've got another corner here too, their 3rd of the night for the away team. It will be taken by the left foot of Lodeiro, trying to swing one in from the near side. Darnell King barking orders, another set piece for Phoenix to deal with. Ka is up off his dugout, whipped along, cleared away by Rising. Only as far now as Artur, the captain, languishing. Lodeiro whipping wide, now into the space for Artur at the byline. Looping cross, back post, slipped through everybody, and dealt with well by Sacco, out for another corner. Just feels so threatening every time Dynamo drive their way forward.
And they should. This is a team that should feel threatening against Phoenix. And Phoenix needs to feel like they have a chance as not the puncher in this one, but someone who can keep their arms up and block the punches on the way. They have.
42nd, Lodeiro swinging one away, the opposite corner. 1-0 lead, good ball in. Cleared away by Phoenix, a foot race. Avayevu wins it, Lodeiro pressuring. Avayevu, poor touch, Lodeiro fouled him. Good smart stuff from the 36-year-old Nico Lodeiro. As it stands right now, 3 minutes plus stoppage. This will be the first time in now 3 meetings with MLS teams with Phoenix Rising that they will have not led at halftime. They led against LA Galaxy 1-0 in 2014 at home. Last year they played Seattle Sounders in the round of 16. Led 1-0 at Starfire Sports Complex, a Remy Cabral penalty before conceding 2 in the second half to lose 2-1. They lost both 2-1. Saint, Quayshow, left side. Duenas, good pressure. Quayshow spinning. Back for Saint. Carl Saint, good line splitting ball. Avayevu, can he solve a puzzle? Gets it to Akello, heavy touch, Noble Akello, using his body well. Akello driving beyond, flipping wide, Formella at the byline, and he's won a corner kick. Good stuff from Noble Akello, using his body, driving forward, and he found Formella to win a set piece for Phoenix. 44th minute. Okay, your first real chance for Rising to set up and be steady. Avayevu will come to the north end to take the corner. Left hand on his knee, right hand on the flag. The number 10 for Phoenix. Black shirt, white shorts, low black socks. He's supported by Johnson Short. Referee sorting something out of the penalty spot. Kowalczyk is the one-man wall. Sacco is hounding Gillingham. Being helped by Duenas. In-swung ball from the right foot of Avayevu. He drives it to the back post for Skiers! Saved by Gillingham. A routine they've been working on the last couple of weeks, a looping ball to the back post, and JP Skeers saw the back of the net. Blake Gillingham denied it. Beautiful.
So close from JP there. They've been working on hitting the target. That's the target. Watch them do it again.
This one, they'll go to the opposite end. Left-footed service of Quayshaw will be swung in again. Another chance for Phoenix. Quayshaw's drive, cleared away by Bartlow, out for a throw. We'll take a look at the fourth official in a moment for stoppage time. Rising would love to see 5 minutes, take advantage of this momentum they've found from nothing, a 1-0 game. They trail Houston. 17th minute goal. Christian Campo Ortiz Hernandez will say 2 minutes of stoppage time. 2 minutes for Phoenix Rising to see if they can get something into this second half. Saint, center circle, Montgomery. Braxton, pushing ball, feet of Saint. Takes his touch. Formella dropping deep for Phoenix. Skips beyond Duenas. Rising have grown into it. Ball over the top for Sacco! Penalty! Yes! Gillingham came through the side of Isan Sacco, and it's a penalty for Phoenix Rising. Yellow for Blake Gillingham, who's making the shape of VAR. There is no VAR in the Open Cup. Artur has surrounded the referee. Junior Urso has taken his space there. One chance ball over the top, and Isan Sacco took a risk.
And now you have to hope that Sacco's okay. He's still face down in the grass. He took a hard hit, but it's the most valuable hit he's taken all year long. Here comes the physio. Good on Isan Nino Sacco. That's his moment.
Phoenix has found a foothold in this game over the last 4 or 5 minutes. And you'll tell anyone when you're the underdog in a game, Kevin, if you find 5 minutes where you have the dominant possession, you have to take advantage. You have to strike.
Get something from it. This is getting something from it. And thankfully the watch is ticking down.
This should be the final moment. Junior Urso is still begging the case of his goalkeeper. There's some pushing and shoving at the penalty spot. Dynamo attempting to get into the head of what I believe is Darius Johnson. Colin Smith is there as well. Phoenix protecting the penalty spot. It's very easy for a player to come in and take his cleats to the penalty spot and scuff it up. Rising doing their best to keep a hold of it. Johnson playing the role of the last man. Colin Smith, his bouncer.
Colin Smith is always in the middle of the scrum, and I love it so much. He's just sort of the tone setter. It started against Rhode Island, trying to prove a point and be the man against his former club.
Looks like it's Darius Formella who will take it for Phoenix. No Remy Cabral, who is the traditional penalty taker for Rising. He misses due to a red card against Tulsa in the prior round. Cabral had a good game this past week against Colorado Springs. But it is going to be Darius Formella, who has scored 4 of his last 5 with a fairly mixed variety. 1 up the middle, 2 to the goalkeeper's right, 2 low to the goalkeeper's left. His last miss was 2023 against Birmingham. He scored last year against Tulsa at home. Formella, one of the more experienced men in this Rising roster, has the ball on the penalty spot, and he's being told to move it back. His white boots take 5, 6, 7 paces backward. 49th minute, Houston 1, Phoenix 0. Ball on the penalty spot, 12 yards out for Formella. Gillingham, the goalkeeper. Darek on his right. 1 breath, 1 run, he shoots, he scores! The surge of the stadium comes with it. 1-1 in the round of 32. Phoenix are level through Darius Formella's first of the year. They took their moment, and they finally have room for hope in this game.
They needed it so bad. Formella 7 steps away from the spot and the deepest breath I've ever seen him take. That was as important as it gets, and it feels like Formella has shown up in the biggest moments. Last year, a late fixture at home against Orange County, he bagged a brace when they needed a win so dearly. This time, he bags the penalty after Sacco took the hit. So massive.
It would be Formella too, the man that really found his form to find Juan Guerra lifting the trophy in 2023. Formella pegs his former coach back, and that's the half. It's such a big moment for Phoenix Rising. A beautiful lifted ball over the top that found Isan Sacco's gliding glare. He was charged into by the goalkeeper. Gillingham picked up a yellow card. A penalty, a point to the spot, and Darius Formella makes it 1-1 in a game where Rising had largely nothing, Kevin.
They made something out of nothing, and it was that 5-minute stretch you referred to, Ryan. They had their foot on the gas pedal, and they finally converted. Sacco got it back. JP Skierce's forehead saw the back of the net. That was a goal 90% of the time. It didn't go in. Sacco took the biggest hit that he'll probably ever take in Rising Red. Wins the penalty, and Formella converts from the spot. The biggest moment perhaps all year for Phoenix, and it comes from the foot of a man with so much experience in those big moments. Massive for Phoenix.
Every stat will show you that Houston, as they should, has dominated this game, but the one that matters, 1-1 at the break. 45 down, 45 to go. We'll step aside and pause for 10 seconds to stations to identify themselves here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. 1-1 at the break from 38th in Washington.
Suzuku's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th in Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Hey Phoenix Rising fans, this is Discount Tire, your hometown tire retailer and trusted partner on the road for over 65 years. We know it can be overwhelming when buying tires, but we're here to help. Our online tire buying guide, Treadwell, makes finding the right tires simple. Just plug in your vehicle, location, and driving habits, and Treadwell will give you unbiased, personalized recommendations based on your needs, not based on price. Inviting, easy, and safe. Just how tire buying should be. Shop tires with Treadwell at discounttire.com. Let's get you taken care of.
Now we go back to the field to break down the first half action with the Rising Radio Halftime Report on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
you into the Rising Radio Halftime Report on the Rising Radio Network here on X and Facebook. Up top from the gantry at 38th and Washington is Rona Haycoop. Alongside me is Ryan Myers and Devin Henderson. Currently, Phoenix Rising and Houston Dynamo are level from Phoenix 1-1. A penalty courtesy of Formella. He slipped a ball in a very controversial tackle between the man between the pipes for Houston Dynamo, Blake Gillingham, as well as Sacco. Formella blasts the penalty in off the right-hand side of the keeper. We're all level, gentlemen, at halfway point, and an excellent 45 for Phoenix Rising. 3 shots on goal to Dynamo's 5. Have only had 40% of the ball have Rising, but you don't get points for possession in footy. Last time I checked, 40 total duels aside, so Rising keeping up with the physicality. Devin?
Yeah, Rising is, they're not necessarily being the most physical team here today, right? They're kind of surrendering that, and you saw that on the free kick goal from Houston. They just seem hungrier in the box. They're able to read that ball in, get in first. You look at Junior Urso, and you look at in the middle Archer. They're just being those kind of physical presence in there, and they seem like a team hungry for much of that first half. They had more possession, and then right at the end, that was when Rising started to kind of circulate the ball a little bit more and started to find their stride on the counterattack.
Yeah, a lot of confidence for Phoenix Rising, a team obviously playing up a division in the USL Open Cup in the round of 32 tonight. And for Phoenix, a team that's been extremely injured. We've talked about it for weeks. 10 different starting back lines through 11 matches played this season. Devin, Braxton Montgomery has been classy tonight.
He's been class, and let me tell you, Juan Guerra has tried to throw him and Sante in the back for a loop, right? He's telling Nicholas Ladero and Gabe Siegel to kind of work his levers. One check to the ball, the other one go, and that means that between those two center backs, they have to pressure cover, right? They have to communicate that. Montgomery has stepped up. He's been in the back of Gabe Siegel. He's been in the back of Nick Ladero, who I said in the pregame, he's a 2-time MLS Cup champion. This guy has experience. He's stepped up to the task. He's been strong in those tackles, and they've been holding strong in that back line.
And for Braxton as well, he's grown into this match as time has gone on. You can tell he's being more confident with the passes he's making, the duels he's winning, the tackles he's going for, and the communication aspect as well. Devin, we were all down on the pitch just a second ago, and we got to hear exactly how the players are communicating amongst themselves for Phoenix Rising. Guys are more confident now. They got through that first 15-minute storm that we knew was going to happen against an MLS side. You're coming in, you're nervous, you don't know what to expect. And as they've grown into the game, they've gotten better. All 3 of Rising's shots on target have been after the 30th minute on, and now they're kind of really feeling confident, grooving now. And it's been an exciting match. I mean, I think they've done a really good job so far through 45.
And one thing that they're hitting really well is those half spaces on the counterattack, right? They came into this game, they knew they didn't have the same level of quality as Houston, so they surrendered possession. They let them play the ball around. They sat back in that strong defensive line. They performed, maybe overperformed from what we expected. And then you see Darius Johnson and you see Hope Ayabu stepping into those half spaces, and in the counterattack, those balls are getting sent forward. They're kind of peeling this Houston defense apart, moving them around a lot. They're finding those lanes through. It's just about the end product. They haven't been able to get a live goal yet. They've gotten those opportunities. They get that PK on a counterattack, get into the net. They're going to force Houston to have to defend them for 90 minutes, force them to have to prove they are better. They're not going to lay over for this one.
And right before that penalty, too, as well, it was an excellent chance on the far post for J.P. Skeers. A fantastic save by Blake Gillingham. Could be 2-1 here from 38th and Washington, but an excellent 45 for Phoenix Rising. We'll take a short intermission as we listen to some words from our sponsors, but we'll be back with the conclusion of the Rising Radio Halftime Report.
Zuzuchukwu's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Hey Phoenix Rising fans, this is Discount Tire, your hometown tire retailer and trusted partner on the road for over 65 years. We know it can be overwhelming when buying tires, but we're here to help. Our online tire buying guide, Treadwell, makes finding the right tires simple. Just plug in your vehicle, location, and driving habits, and Treadwell will give you unbiased, personalized recommendations based on your needs, not based on price. Inviting, easy, and safe. Just how tire buying should be. Shop tires with Treadwell at discounttire.com. Let's get you taken care of.
You're listening to the Rising Radio Halftime Report on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
And we welcome you back in here to the Rising Radio Halftime Report on the Rising Radio Network here on X and Facebook. The only 2 games left going on in the USL Open Cup are this one, and in the late window of the USL Open Cup is the San Jose Earthquakes, and they're up currently 1-0 on Sacramento Republic. So a nice little California clash to close out the USL Open Cup on this fine Wednesday. And gentlemen, we talked about in pregame a lot of the firepower that both of these teams have off the bench. Damian Riviera for Phoenix Rising and Ezequiel Ponce for Houston Dynamo are 2 guys that come to name. But for you, Myers, looking at Rising, a team that, took advantage of the time that they had in possession and really dominating at the end of that first half. Necessarily don't want to make a change, but definitely with the busy schedule, you got New Mexico on Saturday. You don't want everybody to pick up 90 minutes. What changes are you looking to see here?
Yeah, subs are very weird because they don't really have any center backs. So do you take off Braxton Montgomery or Saints? You're not really sure, but what they do have is a couple different players on other parts of the pitch that can really make a difference later in this game. Ryan Flood, a guy coming back from injury, a very versatile deputy with a left foot who can really play maybe for Emi Quaishel in that left back position if you want to take off a guy that's coming back from injury as well. Maybe you play Jamison Ping, the young man who might be able to grow into the game in the center of the park, even though the center mids have done a very good job today. And then up top, Damian Rivera, when you need a goal, because Rising is going to need a goal if they want to get through in this cup tie. He's a player we know with the quality, the poise, the composure, the clinicality to come in and make some magic happen, especially off that left-hand side of the pitch. So Rising has a few options they can kind of point to as the game goes on, but it'll be funny to see how they kind of make things work, especially with the fact they don't really have a lot of center backs to work with.
Yeah, 1-1 still the score here from 38th and Washington. And important to note, in getting to that 1-1 draw, Sacco took a pretty nasty knock courtesy of the goalkeeper Blake Gillingham. So a possibility that he doesn't return. He took a while to to stand up, however, and limped off the field at the double whistle. So will be interesting to look at that. But for Houston Dynamo, Devin, a team that came out, played pretty well with a mixed lineup, had some of their starters, their captain obviously in the single pivot in Artur, kind of scored the first goal, looked very dominant, and then turned on cruise control for them.
Yeah, and if I'm Phoenix Rising, I'm 100% planning for the possibility of Ezequiel Ponce coming on for Houston in this second half. He is the club record fee for a transfer coming in. He is their leading goal scorer in the MLS. He scored 3 goals for them. He's the guy that has the quality up top for this team. And look, like I said in the pregame, Juan Guerra said they want this game. They have had rough fortunes. They have fallen on some tough times. They want to turn it around. They want to get a good result here, and he's going to be the guy that they're going to put on in order to go win this game.
Ponce, certainly a talented player, 4 goal contributions in Major League Soccer for Houston Dynamo, a transfer over from Athens, Greece, so got that European pedigree. Does one Ezequiel Ponce, but where players are returning to the field here from 38th and Washington, so we will step aside for the Rising Radio halftime report, and with the rest of this will be Ryan Sikora and Kevin Cardez.
Uzuchukwu's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Let's get into the action. Phoenix Rising Soccer, live now on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
One at the break at 38th and Washington. Phoenix Rising level at home with Houston Dynamo. Ryan Sikora, Kevin Cardez as we bring you to the second half. And Kevin, a moment at the end for Phoenix Rising that they just about did enough. They took advantage of their last chance. Darius Formella scoring from the penalty spot as we start the second half.
Just let it be competitive, right? Magic can happen. It's the magic of the cup. They love to talk about it. And granted, it's more frequent in the earlier stages, but it's still possible here. Phoenix just chance. And now we'll see if they can.
One change for Dynamo at the break. Femi Awadesu has come into the game for Houston. He's taken his place next to Ethan Bartlow, replacing Pablo Ortiz. As the ball is lifted up for Ladero, taking on Akello down the left side of a 1-1 game. And backward he goes. Good patient stuff from Dynamo. 60 seconds into this second half. Urso. Artur skips some space. Kowalczyk a touch. Running at Akello. Feet of Ladero. Whip wide. Escobar. Now left for Andrade. And space for Ladero to cross. Hard and claimed by Rakowski. Easy in the end for the German for Phoenix. And the lone change is Femi Awadesu, the 23-year-old Philadelphian who has played every minute in MLS play for Houston. He now plays off the left side of the back four. Avayevu skipping, surging, jumping over, and he concedes a throw.
It's all up to Phoenix to get into this second half as fast as possible. They've had issues starting slow, and that can't happen here. They need to get stuck in, and they need to be passionate from the moment this first whistle blows. They were on their back heels there for a moment. Rakowski received the ball right to his chest. Now, can they settle in and get right back to where they left off?
Dynamo on it. Awadesu clearing. One out of the air. Quaisho. No changes for Phoenix after 45. Formella the goal scorer. Backward he goes for Braxton Montgomery. Misplaces a pass, hit it too short. Kowalczyk racing forward for Houston, skipping wide. Ladero by the byline, looking to cross, and he wins a corner. Last-ditch stuff from Nico Ladero off the legs of Noble Akello. It's a corner kick once again for Houston as we start this second half. They had 4 of those in the first 45 minutes. This is the last of the games here tonight, only one more after this one. San Jose and Sacramento in the round of 32 of the Open Cup. Outswung ball by Ladero, up into the space, attacking was Bartlow, kept alive, no. Escobar slipped at the back stick, searching to keep it in touch. 48th, 1-1.
I'd argue this is probably the most important 10-15 minutes of the entire match. It wasn't the last 5 of the previous 45. This is it here. You need to stick in and survive the barrage. It's going to be fresh legs for Houston, star power on the way. Let them finish this stretch and then take your momentum, whether that's through the 90, through 120, or you score your second goal. Survive this 10-15.
Another awry pass from the teenager Montgomery as he mishits a clearance. And that one got Pamadou Ka up off the bench, gave him a clap, trying to keep his center back in tow. Throw in, Siegel, grabbed by Montgomery, Kowalczyk, Houston, flicked along Lodeiro, no run from Kowalczyk. And Montgomery will see it out for a goal kick. You mentioned those first 10-15 minutes, probably extra important for Phoenix Rising. Ryan Myers is down on the touchline with more.
Yeah, guys, you think after that goal, the sense of urgency, confidence, and momentum for Rising is going to be in their favor. They're playing with house money. You got to do what you can, and now they know that they can be and play with this team in Houston Dynamo. Should be a very fun second half. Like you mentioned, there's going to be a run. There's going to be a wave from Houston Dynamo, but Phoenix knows they can get over that wave now after going into halftime tied at 1-1.
Yes, sir, Ryan. Thank you. There's a yellow card that's been issued here, I believe, to Darius Johnson for a little bit of jawing. Colin Smith fouled Kowalczyk on a loose ball in the center of the park. So Dynamo have a free kick. We've played 5 minutes into the second half. Winner will face Austin FC in the round of 16. Phoenix wins, they will host.
Yellow card went to Colin Smith there. If it would have went to Darius Johnson, he would have been sent off for a double yellow. The red would have come out of the pocket.
Yeah, that's a good point. Johnson had the awkward moment 24 minutes in.
Failed bike.
So much happened since. That's why Kevin's here. He picks up my mistakes, you know.
Just the cleanup crew, man.
Hey, there's worse things to be. Got a lot to clean up a lot of the times, in fairness.
I'd argue not.
Really? That's kind. Bartlow's touch for Dynamo. Spins away. Back into the feet of Awadesu on his right. Andrade, who scored the goal for Dynamo in the first half on a well-worked free kick service from Lodeiro to the back post. Left to right go Houston. Kowalczyk dropping in. Duenas. Skipping a line, Urso, Junior Urso into the path now. Here's a chance to cut back. Space for Lodeiro, missed his moment. It was beautiful from Houston Dynamo, and Nico Lodeiro shoved his shot wide of the first post.
Just survive. Obviously, you want to defend that one better. That's perfect play from an MLS team, and you can see they're pulling on all the stops now. Full sprints. There's nothing that's happening that's slow right now for Houston. So animated. You can tell the one-touch stuff is on fire. Get through this wave.
Okello turning wide for Smith, who's got new blue boots on, Colin Smith, and he is dragged to the floor by Kowalczyk. That's a yellow card. Second Dynamo player in the book, and now the handling, the hanging has become a little more prevalent. 52nd minute. That was right in front of Ben Olsen, who seemed as though he was urging Kowalczyk to be the one to grab Smith.
Smith has the opportunity to just break down that near side touchline for us. He's so athletic. They brought him in to be that guy who drifts up in possession and sort of plays in the final third almost as a winger, but sits hard back in defense. And defense really tough because he is an athlete. He has an opportunity to explode down those touchlines and almost did there.
Formella and Saint. In his own 18, and now back into the 6 for Rakovsky. Calmly plays one into the feet of Carl Saint. It's calm for him, not so much so for Kevin.
Rakovsky knows what he's doing, thankfully. So poised. He's been in big games, played in big leagues, but man, when somebody's closing like that, thank goodness he knows how to distribute.
Kowalczyk's touch for Houston as they win it back. A long ball from Okello was off point. Artur turning away from Avayevu. Urso, back heel. Montgomery skiers for Phoenix. And Montgomery into a dangerous path for Emil Quacio. Ball over the top, a chance to run for Darius Johnson, who is onside. He's grabbed by Awadesu. No foul, says Abdu Njai, the referee. Urso the other direction. Isan Sako stays out there for Phoenix, keeps working. Kowalczyk cuts inside on his right foot, laying along Urso. Formella tracking, not winning. Ball wide right, Escobar on the byline, crossing in, stayed in touch, headed away by Smith, no nonsense. Corner kick coming for Dynamo. 54th. Lodeiro will serve again in a 1-1 game. Lightning left foot of Nicolas Lodeiro, former Orlando City and Seattle Sounders superstar. Outswinger, driven high, headed down, cleared away by Montgomery, and further by Johnson. It was pushed into space by Femi Awadesu. Urso, Artur, left by Kowalczyk, who got tricky with it. Should not have. Phoenix survive that spell.
Feels like Phoenix has navigated the high pressure moment so far, mostly on the missteps and misplays of Houston, but they'll take that too. Part of the game is converting on your chances. Houston hasn't really done that so far in the second half. Now Phoenix has to manufacture their own. You can only do so much withstanding. Eventually you have to do it yourself. So far, all Houston, good and bad.
Throwing for Rising, attacking half. They've got the ball on the right side with Colin Smith, who's got no options. Nobody's moving. They'll look into the body of Sacco, who is shoved to the ground. No foul, says the referee. One by Skierce. Feet of DJ. Smith slipping. Artur capitalizing. And now space for Duenas. Clipping over the top. Montgomery heads it backward. And Emil Quaisho steps on it for Rising. Back for Rakowski. Another ball down the line. Quaisho's touch in his own third. Pushed into space, taking a touch off by a Dynamo player. Is that a foul? No, they'll call it a throw-in. Referee blew his whistle to sort out the situation. It seems as though Phoenix are setting to make their first change of this game. Damian Rivera receiving instruction from Darnell King and Vikram Verk, the Rising assistants. There's another foul, and it'll be a Rising free kick. Dynamo feel a bit worse for wear to start this second half's first 10 minutes. And the referee will sort it out while he does it. Fans, you can dive deeper into the thrills and the drama of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. Join the conversation on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Open Cup. Rising free kick. Took a long time to sort, Kev.
A yellow card came out of the pocket there to a Dynamo player. Not sure really who it came out to, but another caution out of the pocket for Houston. Houston getting a little frustrated. Rising playing their game. There may be no cooler tandem right now on the pitch other than Rakowski and Quaisho playing back and forth. They're setting the tone in the back line. It's so necessary.
Is Eric Duenas into the referee's book. Rising turn it over. Right side now, Dynamo have a throw. Phoenix team that trailed in this game 1-0. They have only, in their Open Cup history, Kev, trailed in a game and won once, all the way back in 2014 against Portland Timbers. Johnson working hard. He slipped, he lost it, and Rising have a throw because it last touched off the body of the left back Andrade. Again, that win was 2014. Rising was down 2-0. Beat Portland Timbers U23s 3-2. Was in the second round. Urso ushering forward, wide for Lodeiro. Urso, Lodeiro, pressured by Avayevu, feet of Kowalczyk, fancy, Urso, Smith. Avayevu got it from Akello, heavy touch into the middle of the park. Bounces around, a touch for Duenas. Grabbed a couple of times, that's an easy decision for the referee. Carl Saint came through the backside of Eric Duenas. Taking a long time to get Damian Rivera sorted.
Well, you know exactly how far he can go. Rivera's spent a lot of time coming off the bench over the last month and change, has said in media that he's sort of trying to work his way back from menial injuries, and now this is his opportunity to get on the pitch in a big way. He might not be able to go the full 90, but they know that. They didn't want to start the game with him. They wanted to finish it.
Dynamo on the attack. Kowalczyk dancing, shuffling through two. Spinning a ball on the line for Lodeiro. Skierce shielding for Rakowski. Rivera's used to that as well, by the way. Spent the last couple of years with Tampa Bay Rowdies as a key substitute, right? He played in 38 games. That's all of them for Tampa last year, but barely started any. He scored 7 goals, had 4 assists off the bench. He came to Rising with the hopes of a greater role and has expanded that and such and has been one of the best players for this Phoenix team. Montgomery over the top for the pacey Smith. Shielding well on Dragic. Dynamo have it again. Okello wins the ball high. 59th minute, 1-1. Noble Okello crossing a ball deep up for Formella, who's trying to run hard to keep it in touch and does well to do so. Phoenix have the ball, attacking half, everybody in black as Quayshow skips through and is fouled. Emil Quayshow drew the defender in and has won a free kick for Phoenix, maybe 35, 40 yards away from the frame of Blake Gillingham, the Houston goalkeeper.
Sort of waiting for Quayshow to make his signature mark on this match. He's been so quality. Don't let that take away from it. Quayshow's no stranger to the big moment, especially in Rising Red. So special for this club in moments that have mattered more than almost any other. They might not have won a title without him. Can they advance with him in the round of 32?
Tonight in the Phoenix Black, Emil Quayshow, a man who made it all the way to the Open Cup final in 2022 with Sacramento. Wind is blowing towards the south end at about 10 miles per hour here this evening. That's where Rising are attacking towards, spurred on by the Banditos in the south end. Quayshow, Aveyevu casting a shadow, a Houston line laid across the top of the 18. 60th minute, 1-1. Aveyevu serving up there, bounces around, offside flag is up. It seemed to be Skeers skying high out of the air. But the flag went up on JP Skeers on that set piece, and Dynamo will put it on the ground. Houston themselves readying 3 changes. Ezequiel Ponce, their designated player, their superstar leading goal scorer. Wears the number 10 on his back, will play as the striker certainly. Brooklyn Raines and Jack McGlynn, 2 young talented midfielders as well. Getting set to come on for Ben Olsen's side. Dynamo turn it over deep. Rising have a throw-in in the attacking third on the far side, the left side. They seem really out of it to start this second half, 15 minutes in Houston.
This is what happened in Seattle. Seattle brought on the reinforcements towards the end of the match and closed it down. Phoenix were up 1-0. Houston's going to try to do the same exact thing here.
Okello in the middle. And back for Saint last year against Seattle, it was the Roldan brothers, Christian and Alex, who came in, served well. Christian Roldan found the first. Good ball into a good space for Johnson. Cleared well by Awadesu. Of course, Kalani Kozarienzi scored the winner in the 88th for Sounders. Driving run here. Driving still. Urso's taken to ground fairly by Colin Smith. And Phoenix have it again with Skeers. McGlynn and Raines will enter this game looking to control it a bit more. If you're Houston. Saint on the ball for Phoenix.
To me, Phoenix has a window here. You put on 3 new guys who aren't really into the pace and the intensity of the match. You can sort of put your foot down to the floor, gas pedal all the way, and outpace them, out-intensity them, if that even exists.
Smith was lunging for a ball there, just ran out of legs. Couldn't find it. Throw in for Dynamo. And here comes the triple change. Still no Damian Rivera on the field for Phoenix yet. First change will be McGlynn in for Duenas, who was one of your players to watch coming into this one, Kev.
And Duenas, so quality. I think really, not to get away from Duenas, we'll talk about Duenas in a moment, but Phoenix might be holding Rivera because this is a knockout comp. This could go 120 all the way through. If Rivera can't go 90, there's a chance that he can't go 60. The longer that you can keep him on the bench fresh means that he could come on and play longer in extra time. You have a lot of soccer left to play as it stands in a 1-1 draw. You want him to be able to go the distance whenever he does touch the pitch. Don't sub him on to take him off. If that's going to be Rivera, they're going to hold until they feel this is it, put him on.
Off goes the captain, Artur. He's replaced by Brooklyn Raines, the 20-year-old Phoenix native. And Ponce, striker for striker, on for Siegel. As Phoenix have a throw. So 2 midfielders and a goal scorer on for Dynamo. Rising maybe also playing chess, wanting to see how Houston adjust.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have options on the bench. We talk about how, senior players or starters, as you'd say. Paul would disagree. He says he has a squad, right? But sure, players and options off the bench, there are still people there. How are we going to navigate this? You have a center back. You have Araneta. I mean, what can you do here? Jamison Ping has been brought on in really important moments this season. They have a lot of trust and faith in him. Will we see him feature? It all depends on what Houston does here.
How are your legs if you're Phoenix Rising? Played on Saturday, played up in altitude on Saturday as well in Colorado Springs. Dynamo fresh off Tinseltown. Fresh-footed at Los Angeles. They lost 2-0. Quayshow casts his shadow, 64th minute, 1-1. 40 yards from frame, crossing situation for the lefty. Avayevu has joined him. Sacco is short. One-man wall for Houston. Quayshow will swing one in, headed away by Dynamo. Rising pounce with Avayevu. Quayshow, Avayevu. Quayshow, good first touch, great second touch. Finds the feet of Hope Avayevu. Hope turning, touching along, intercepted by Reigns. He's fouled by Quayshow. That's tactical, and it will see his name go into the book of the referee, Emil Quayshow. Brooklyn Reigns, again, 20 years old. Phoenix kid, played with Barca Academy for a long time, just down south in Casa Grande. Went to El Paso Locomotive, got a couple of appearances in the championship before being scooped up by the MLS side he currently plays for. He's slowly worked his way into the team over the last couple of years. 5 games in MLS, including 4 starts. Played at the weekend in the loss to LAFC. Ladero, 36. He's so old, still so gold. Reigns. Cleaned up by Skeers, lifting along, no run from Sacco. All the way back for Gillingham, the man who conceded the penalty at the tail end of the first half. Rising scored in the 49th minute of the opening frame. Kowalczyk in behind Ladero, flicked along Ponce. Great turn, gets beyond Saint. Ezequiel Ponce clipping into space. Here's Jack McGlynn who sits on it. McGlynn tees up Brooklyn Reigns, saved by Rakovsky. It's a wonderful defensive swarm to the left side from Phoenix Rising.
They've been so good at that tonight. It's getting back and cleaning up their mistakes. You're not going to be perfect against an MLS team. You're not going to be perfect against Houston Dynamo. How can you get back and make it matter when you do have a misstep or a misfire? And they've done it so well. They just got back. They swarmed. Quality there from Phoenix, still hanging in.
Formella switching play, finding Montgomery. 8th consecutive start for the 18-year-old Braxton Montgomery tonight. Colin Smith snaking through midfield, right to left ball, finding the run of Formella. Phoenix have numbers if they go quickly. Formella to the box, now to the byline. Has not won a corner in front of the south end. I agree. They were not happy. 2/3 of this game's been played.
South end in dismay. It's too far for us to really make a call, but Formella almost got there. Not the quickest guy on the pitch, but one of the savviest when it comes to playing the game in his head. Almost there. Phoenix has got close to knocking and creating that chance. It's just a question of if they will in the next 24 minutes.
Awadesu. Brooklyn Reigns dropping in for Dynamo. Skips a line beautifully, Ladero. Ponce, Ladero again. Center circle. Shooting a ball wide left for Kowalczyk to chase. Kowalczyk clipping over the head of Ponce. McGlynn could make a late run there. Quayshow's cut it off. And Quayshow's cleared. And Sacco's let it run, and Awadesu has dealt with it. Gillingham. Something to keep a note as well, Kevin. 7 players on the pitch right now. 7 players in the book of the referee, 6 on the pitch right now, 4 for Phoenix if this game continues to labor. Rivera's got his shirt on for Rising. He's getting set to come in. Ladero. Andrade, Urso, Reigns, center circle, shifting right. Ball along the ground, Bartlow. Rewarding the run of Escobar, who finds McGlynn in the attacking third. The beautiful U.S. men's national team player, Jack McGlynn, crossing a ball in over the head of Smith. And out for a goal kick. Chasing it was Ladero, who tried to keep it in touch, went hard into the advertisement walling. He's back on his feet. And in comes Damian Tico Rivera. He'll replace Darius Johnson. We'll start with him. 68 minutes of really good stuff in his first start of the year, Kevin.
I thought that DJ did exactly what they asked him to do. I wasn't in those conversations, but I know it was run hard, run fast, defend, and give us something when the ball comes to you. I truly think that that was likely the best performance that DJ's put in a Rising shirt in his short time with the club. He came at the same time as superstar Joel Margarita. The two of them have grown into becoming best friends. Joel unavailable for selection tonight. DJ picked up the slack for his counterpart. So good tonight. So good.
We said it times last year, right? They're Phoenix's version of the Twins. Remember Cam Johnson?
And Mikal Bridges.
Two boys for the Suns. Long ball Montgomery. First touch Rivera. Knotted down for Akello. In behind and cleaned up well, but out for a throw by Awadesu. Houston looking to take advantage of Rising's young defensive pairing on the right side. Braxton Montgomery and Colin Smith. Devin Henderson has more on the touchline.
Yeah, Ben Olsen was just up on the touchline, motioning to his team to keep finding this ball down the left-hand side. Twice in the past 10 minutes, they found splitting balls between Montgomery and Smith. He clearly sees something he likes, and he wants to continue to take advantage of it.
This is a moment here, Devin. As a yellow card has come out of Abdu and Jai's pocket. Noble Akello was in the area. No red card has followed. So it seems as though it will be a new name in the book. I think everybody in the stadium took a collective gasp as Noble Akello was in the area already on a yellow card. So they have given it to Akello. I guess Akello, that's fair. Akello wasn't on the yellow card. Everybody else is on a yellow card.
Yeah. Noble was the
Akello
one.
had the persistent infringement in the first half.
We talked about it,
Yes.
and then the final warning came out. Right now, there's 4 players on the pitch for Phoenix who have a yellow card sitting on them. It's Emi Quayshow, Braxton Montgomery, Colin Smith, now Noble Akello. Darius Johnson had a yellow as well. He came off in substitution for Tico Rivera. So 4 of the 11 right now on for Phoenix have red cards.
Houston throw in quickly. Ponce working on Montgomery towards the box. Ponce cutting back. Well dealt with by Scarce. Montgomery clears. 2 of those names you mentioned on yellow cards, Kevin, the 2 that Devin was saying Houston trying to pick on, Smith and Montgomery. Kowalczyk's there, defended by Montgomery. Braxton does well. Avievu, Sako, Awadesu wins for Dynamo. 71st minute, 1-1 at 38th in Washington. Phoenix searching for a first home win in 220 plus days. Searching for a first ever win against Major League Soccer opposition. Dynamo looking to avoid defeat to a USL side for the second consecutive year. They were the upset, maybe the game of the tournament, a 3-3 draw at home last year with Detroit, in which they lost 10-9 in a penalty shootout. The goalkeeper for Detroit, Carlos Saldana, scored the 10th and final penalty for Detroit on that night. Throwing for Houston, attacking half, left side. It'll be left. Andrade is looking for somebody. He's taken too many steps. Second time the referee has urged him to go backward. He'll throw it in short for Kowalczyk. Over the top. Akello won the header. Not a good enough one. Second ball scarce. Knotted down for Urso. Whip wide right. Escobar finding the feet of Ladero. Left it. And Kowalczyk did too. And Smith has it for Phoenix. And Colin Smith. Good ball, and he had Sako. It slipped beyond both Sako and Awadesu. And Gillingham was there to clean it up for Houston Dynamo.
So close. Sako's getting just his entire chest is being held by anyone who's holding him on the top of the line. He's not going to get called offsides because he can't release. There's no run to be made there when he's just being tackled. Eventually, he'll have his opportunity. You're just waiting for it to happen. He's working so hard in defense, though.
Ball wide, Ladero. Right side, McGlynn. Jack McGlynn running 1v1 with Quayshow. Up towards the 18. McGlynn cutting onto his preferred left foot. Lifting one wide left now. Ladero, room to serve. He drives one to the back post. Formella defending well against Escobar. And out for a rising throw. Good stuff from Phoenix, who've had to shell a little more of the ball from Houston this game, this second half. 68% of possession in the second 45 belonging to the Dynamo. 4 shots, 1 on target. Rising haven't put one on the frame. Isan Sako, he's working hard defensively, like you said. Starved for service, the man who played a full 90 at the weekend in Colorado Springs. Another throw in for Phoenix. Good pressure by Dynamo. 73rd.
That was magnificent there on that incoming cross from Darius Formella. So close to tragedy there on the back post. Formella using both of his hands, just shielding off the opposition. So quality there. He's had a really good night in completion. Formella putting together his best stuff when they need it most.
All wide, Kowalczyk. A touch and a drop for Reigns. Attacking half, Dynamo on it. Left side, Andrade. Down the line, Lodeiro onside at the byline. Crossing low, cleared away Montgomery. Second chance, the goal scorer Andrade. The provider, Lodeiro. Reigns, Urso. Triangulation, 2 touches each from Houston. Awidesu, so high up the pitch is Bartlow, the center back. And pushed into a wide left space. Heels on the touchline for Lodeiro. Nico, feet of Urso. Junior Urso crossing one high and right. McGlynn knotted down Bartlow. 74th, rising defending deep. Cross in from Bartlow over the head of everybody. It's really good stuff from Phoenix Rising.
Just sitting back so well. I feel like in the second half they haven't been nearly as cohesive on attack, still looking for their moment. And they're 5 minutes of this second 45. It hasn't come their way yet, which might be a good thing because they haven't scored in the second half. But when it comes, they'll need to capitalize because this is a lot of really hard and physically intensive defending that has occurred over the last 25 minutes.
Center pitch, Skeers slipping, Avayevu turning, 50-50, turned over, and a foul. Avayevu bailed out by the late challenge of Nicholas Lodeiro. Free kick Rising. 15 minutes left in regulation as the 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup ramps up over the coming weeks as the tournament's trophy comes into view. Watch as this round's victors take their next step towards a title in the round of 16 on May 20th and 21st on CBS Sports and Paramount Plus. A foul in the middle of the park as Houston drove forward. Noble Okello and JP Skeers were in the area. Skeers committed the offense, and Dynamo have a free kick, serving space for Jack McGlynn's left foot. He plays short though. Lodeiro Rising, have to be ready. Lodeiro back for McGlynn, and wide again Lodeiro on the left side, defended by Avayevu. McGlynn, first time, peachy to the back post, kept alive by Escobar offside. He was a step soon, says Clarence Clark, the far side assistant referee. Phoenix play short.
Dynamo now going to sit up in a really high press. It's sort of a 4-4-2 here. Rakowski in a little trouble, gets out of it, but man, Dynamo wants their goal. Nobody wants to go the distance in this one. It'll be a super long 120 if that's the case.
Poor touch by Smith as the ball came over the top. Throw in for Houston, middle pitch. Rising played 120 in the game against Tulsa. Reigns slipping. Won by Formella. Back for Saint. And now Quaisho. He played the 120 in that win against Tulsa, in which Patrick Rakowski was the hero, saved a penalty at the death against Taylor Calhera, and then saved another in the shootout, a 4-2 Rising win. Formella wide, Quaisho couldn't keep it in touch. It's a Phoenix side that have found some fun at the tail end. The last 15 minutes of Open Cup games in their history have scored 7 times. There's late magic still to be had in this Cup competition. Referee blows his whistle to check on an injured player for Phoenix Rising. It's the goalkeeper Rakowski, who pulled up hurt at the weekend against Colorado Springs. It was a calf injury against Switchbacks. 78th minute, and the physio has come on for Phoenix as both teams take touch to their technical areas to talk things out.
Rakowski now left arm over his lower back. It looks like maybe a strain or a pull. It still could be the calf, but his arm keeps going right back to his lower back, right in the middle, dead center. That would be really tough to manage there for Phoenix if you have to work on swapping out a goalkeeper. Tristan Henry, next man up, one of, if not the greatest goalkeeper in the Canadian Premiership's history, would come out. Hasn't had as fruitious of a run in the USL Championship. I'll have a chance to do so now.
He's played 3 times this year as Henry. Again, he won a bunch of competitions in Canada with Forge, the dominant force in the Canadian Premiership. He is receiving instruction from the goalkeeping coach, Corey Robertson. Starnell King and Vikram Burke are trying to get this 38th and Washington arena going. And Rakowski will throw 2 hands to the technical area and say, leave him there. He will go on, the hero of the last round of this cup. 79th minute, 1 apiece for each team. 17th minute, Felipe Andrade off a cross from Ladero. 45 plus 4, Darius Formella from the penalty spot. Long restart, Phoenix retakes the field. Just the 1 change for Rising. Nobody warming up for Phoenix. The 3 in that 1 moment for Houston Dynamo. They seem to be preparing a jersey to bring another on. I think it's going to be Andrej Linger, the Czech international, designated player who's scored for fun since arriving from Slavia Prague in MLS. 3 games, 2 goals. Awadesu. So Houston going for Broke off the bench. Long ball over the top from Femi Awadesu. Skips too long. Couldn't be touched down by Ponce. Rising throw, defensive third. And Quayshaw was in the space.
This is going to be a buckle up 10 minutes for Phoenix. Looking for quality in the moments to get it done.
Houston driving ball forward. They wanted Kowalczyk. Rakowski was there. Rising had a throw. Again, couldn't find anybody on it. It was turned over, and Dynamo broke quickly.
Feels like the throw-ins are bad news for Phoenix because the play stops, and Dynamo's just more athletic and dynamic than Phoenix are. So when the play stops and they throw the ball in, Dynamo just gets it right back.
Here they come again. Kowalczyk attacking third. Pushed into a wide area. McGlynn, drooping ball. Too far for Ponce's run. And Rising running quickly here on the counter. Sacco, good sliding challenge across Andrade. Sacco worse for wear. It'll be a throw-in for Phoenix. 81st minute.
Has anyone been beat up tonight like Sacco has? He has taken every big hit that has come his way. Tackles, challenges, and he was the one who took the hit and the foul for the penalty that Formella converted. Nobody has put their body on the line like Sacco has tonight, and it has been all for the better. Another throw-in for Phoenix Rising.
So Linger comes on for Ben Olsen. Andrej Linger, he replaces Nicholas Ladero. So it's one great technical player for another. Such is the level of Major League Soccer. Rakowski has it for Phoenix. Pressured well by Ponce. Montgomery, wide right. Skipping a line, wanted Rivera, cut off by Bartlow. Middle pitch, Reigns, Kowalczyk. Can he keep it in touch? Yes, just barely. Kowalczyk into the space for Linger. Too close to Rakowski, who he himself grew up in the Czech Republic. They come together, Rakowski gets the better. Poor distribution, poor touch from Quayshaw, who skips beyond a couple, continues his run here. Emil Quayshaw, moment of magic, too heavy hit for Damian Rivera. The left back and the winger on the wrong page for Rising. And Gillingham has it for Dynamo. It looks like Sacco here, Kev, has gone wide right, and Rivera's leading the line.
Rivera is going to go up top. I think it might be to give Sacco almost a break. He's been the one who's chasing the hardest and has probably run the most, covered the most ground in this match. So tired. Let him go off to the right, give him a moment off the wing, and that's what he's actually been playing a lot in league play.
Ball in behind for Houston. So much space. Ponce, low driven. It's blocked away by Saint. And out for a corner. That ball touched the net, but it touched the wrong side of the first post. Ooh, Carl Saint with the most disastrous of moments nearly. 83rd minute, 1-1.
Well, it didn't happen the way it could have. Phoenix will just wipe their forehead and say, let's stick in for this corner kick. Nothing else to say on that. Let's just see what happens.
Looking for its first ever win against a Major League Soccer side. 1-1 in the 83rd. McGlynn service, swinging in, looping high. Bartlow, a long, great stop, Rakowski. Down and hard to his right. And a perfect bit of pouncing from Patrick Rakowski. to deny Ethan Bartlow's header. And McGlynn will chug on over to take another. Jack McGlynn, former Philadelphia Union man, a top 5 under-22 player in Major League Soccer. A wand of a left foot will swing this one away from Rising's goal. There's the service, up in the air, away by Quayshow. Everybody was in the box for Houston. Brooklyn Reigns has it for Dynamo. McGlynn on his weaker right, hits one high in the air. Underneath was Sacco. Down for Bartlow. And back for Awadesu. 6 to play plus stoppage. We are into the weeds. McGlynn driving over the head. Escobar's going to latch onto it by the byline, keeps it in, drops it back for Ponce, the captain. Linger just outside the box, puts one into the space. Skiers has it for Phoenix. Formella, Rivera, can Rising counter, and they have Avayevu cut out well. Defensively strong from Andrade, and all the way back to his goalkeeper he goes.
Rakowski told us early in the year when we interviewed him on the podcast, you never know when you're going to play in your last big game or your last final. When Rakowski went down to that one knee and waved off the physio, not to say that this is the last big game for anyone on this pitch, you know how much it means. He has been so strong. These set pieces, so calm. Right place, right time. That diving save might have been the difference in something that could have been really poor for Phoenix.
Dynamo rushing forward. Ezequiel Ponce on his left, into the box, defended by Montgomery. Dancing is Ponce, winning the duel is Montgomery. Out for a corner. Rakowski said in the midweek he thought that moment against Tulsa was a top 3 moment in his career. Can he stamp another one? Pamadou Ka, edge of his seat, clapping, urging, shoving, pulling the manager for Phoenix. 86th minute, 1-1 McGlynn service to come. Will once again swing away from the near corner flag at the north end. Looping ball, first post, knocked around, Rakowski punches, still alive, bouncing still, Linger's shot is blocked. It's a corner kick. Rakowski down with his foot, saved the first. The second chance was blocked off the backside of Formella, and it's a corner kick for Houston Dynamo. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck. McGlynn will drive another. Again in front of the north end. This one, well hit, penalty spot, flicked along through Escobar, and out for a goal kick. Bartlow was there, Urso drove high. We'll see if Phoenix continues to play here.
4 corners in the span of, 140 seconds? For McGlynn there, just kept going. Left foot, left foot, left foot. Dynamo had their opportunities, just enough of a knuckle on it.
Rakowski, Rising wanted to play short. He saw the press from Dynamo, shoved everybody long. Still just the one change for Phoenix.
I think it might stay that way.
I think you're probably right. Flicked along by Akello, Rivera putting a man under pressure, winning deep. Damian Rivera, they're claiming handballs. There's a scuffle and a ton of action. Awadesu and Reigns and Rivera and Avayevu all together. Ben Olsen is claiming that should be Houston's ball, and it is. Available substitutes here for Phoenix. There aren't a ton with first team experience. Ryan Flood, Jamison Ping, Alex Araneta has yet to play for Phoenix Rising. He's a defender. Flood's a left back. Ping's a midfielder. Good stuff from Dynamo. Linger into the attacking half of the pitch. Clipping up over the top, wanted the run of Escobar, headed away by Quayshow. Rising's got to get back here. They've only got 5 defenders dropped in, and they do. Houston took too long with the throw on the right side, attacking third, 88th, and Jai will back him up, the referee. Urso into the air by McGlynn. Has your touch, Andrade first time. Has your touch again, McGlynn. Escobar. And last touch by Formella. Houston Dynamo. Won the competition in 2023 on the ropes, on the road, at 38th in Washington in a 1-1 game that they have controlled. McGlynn, wide right, Escobar. McGlynn on his left, lifting one for Ponce! Across it went, kept alive and out for a corner. Perfect service from Jack McGlynn. Ezequiel Ponce nodded it along, and Franco Escobar could not convert. 89th minute, 90 seconds till the 90. McGlynn's corner. Everybody ushered at the spot. Jack McGlynn's service, swinging in. Bartlow for Urso. He whiffed it. Escobar's chance is away, cleared by Rising. Urso missed his moment. Escobar did too. This will be the 8th corner of the night for Houston Dynamo.
What, 6 of them have been McGlynn's?
Check that, 12th. 8th of the second half. McGlynn, left foot, spinning a ball into the air. Dynamo have been dangerous. Away by Sacco, acrobatic Urso over the bar. That was Pamanuka's former teammate who tried to take one. 1-1. So close to the moment of this marathon game.
2 bike attempts in one game. Haven't seen that in a while. One for each team, too.
Kevin, go out there and have your third. Long from Rakowski, up for Akello, 6'5", wins the header. Avayevu the second. Rivera driving, defended by 2. He's won a throw. He's won a throw. Referee says he hasn't. And Darnell King can't believe it.
I can't either.
No, nor can I. 5 minutes of stoppage time. We had a 96th minute winner earlier today from Pittsburgh Riverhounds. That started this Wednesday in the oldest competition in American soccer. Can something similar end the day? This will likely be the last one if it goes to extra time. Dynamo switching play, chasing it down, can't keep it in. Phoenix have a throw. Late magic maybe in store. Let's pause for 10 seconds so stations can identify themselves here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Underneath Smith's feet. 92nd, 1-1.
The throw-ins are just bad news for Phoenix. Have to keep going back to it. They can't convert on those. It's almost like they'd rather lose them and try to defend and get it back.
Awadesu dances away from the grasp of Rivera, and there's a foul. And Pamadou Ka is dancing with his team, trying to die for them as they drop back into their defensive shape. 90 seconds over the 90. 3.5 at a minimum to play. Bartlow, right side now, Escobar, Brooklyn Reigns. Dropping back, Awadesu. Center of it all is Femi Awadesu. Andrade, the goal scorer, so long ago in the 17th minute. Kowalczyk down the line, cut off by Smith.
An entire game has elapsed since that first goal. This has just been the longest 90. A heart-stopping one for both sides.
Kowalczyk got the throw in. Andrade skimming away. Reigns switching play. McGlynn on his right, looking for room. Left-footed ball along the ground for Escobar. One-on-one with Quaisho. 93rd minute. Rising, dropping deep. Top of the 18, Brooklyn Reigns. Wide right, McGlynn on his left. Cuts beyond Quaisho. Serves a dangerous ball in that's dealt with by Smith. Every service from Houston has this stadium on the edge.
Colin Smith has been so confident. Those challenges aren't hard to put in when you're in your own box. It's been the right choice every single time. Another McGlynn corner on the way, and Phoenix has another test.
It will be the 13th of the evening. Jack McGlynn, an outswinger from the northwest corner. Skips it up to the penalty spot, away by Noble Okello, 94th minute. McGlynn, Kowalczyk onside, running it out of the Yevu. Sebastian Kowalczyk, Colin Smith was a wall. It's another throw-in, another chance for Houston. Deep into the attacking third, 5 paces off the end line, left side. 1-1. Andrade, Awadesu, the center back, up by the box. Andrade, Kowalczyk had to leave it as he was offside. Formella clears, Bartlow cleans. Awadesu contains. Wide Andrade. Backward he goes, Brooklyn Reigns. Playing forward, McGlynn down the line, Kowalczyk, 95th minute. Kowalczyk, cross up to the box, headed along, Rakowski stops and falls. And at this point, you'll take every second to reset, readjust, as a train turns the corner at 38th and Washington. Rakowski sky high. Up for Rivera, headed down, scooped by Reigns. Maybe 30 seconds left, possibly the final passage. 1-1, McGlynn outside the boot, well waited for Linger, Rakowski's away, Linger slipped, and it's blocked away by Saint. Rakowski came out to claim it. Andre Linger had a moment denied, and the full-time whistle blows. And we will do 30 more minutes from downtown Phoenix.
Heart attack football doesn't stop. We have 30 more on the way. So many questions for Phoenix. How will they weather the storm? What will they do in terms of substitutions, the personnel? Will we all just go 120 minutes? I know that Ryan and I will. Lots to answer, not a long little intermission to figure it all out. We'll see what Pamaduka has.
So while we have the moment, we will step away. 1-1, 30 more minutes of free football coming. Phoenix Rising and Houston Dynamo in the round of 32 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup on KDUS AM 1060, 1-1 at 38th and Washington.
Uzuchukwu's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app. Each day at work just dragging on. Get your sports fix on the lunch break. Join Chris Schubert and producer Evan live as they give their local perspective on the world of sports. Baseball, football, and basketball. Everything has a home on their plate. It's the Lunch Break with Chris Schubert, live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060, on the KDUS 1060 app, and KDUS 1060 on YouTube.
Hey Phoenix Rising fans, this is Discount Tire, your hometown tire retailer and trusted partner on the road for over 65 years. We know it can be overwhelming when buying tires, but we're here to help. Our online tire buying guide, Treadwell, makes finding the right tires simple. Just plug in your vehicle, location, and driving habits, and Treadwell will give you unbiased, personalized recommendations based on your needs, not based on price. Inviting, easy, and safe. Just how tire buying should be. Shop tires with Treadwell at discounttire.com. Let's get you taken care of.
Let's get into the action. Phoenix Rising Soccer, live now on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Extra time from 38th and Washington. 1-1 after 90 between Phoenix Rising and Houston Dynamo. Ryan Sikora, Kevin Cardez. First, Ryan Myers, who's got some more on some Phoenix players with labored legs after a long weekend. Myers Rising searching for some support from a substitutes bench that's fairly short tonight.
Yeah, they've already used one of their substitutions to get one player on, but they still have a bunch of options left. They have guys like Ryan Flood about to come on the pitch. Jamison Ping is an option as well, and a couple other academy players. We'll see what Rising do, but a lot of tired legs for the boys in black. So getting some other fresh legs on the pitch is going to be huge for them in the next 30 minutes.
Right, thanks. Kevin, the Phoenix side that went the full 90 in a 1-1 draw in Colorado Springs on Saturday. 2 changes in this opening portion of extra time, one for each team. Both the left backs. Daniel Steres has come in for the goal scorer Felipe Andrade for Houston. Ryan Flood with a heavy white cast around his right arm has come in for Emil Quaisho, who did a serviceable job 90 minutes after not playing for nearly a month. Flood has been out for even longer as we've kicked off to start the first half of extra time in the Open Cup. 2 15-minute periods. You will play it all. Even if somebody scores, we will play the distance of this second half. A long ball rolls over the top for a Dynamo throw 20 seconds in. And Kevin, Phoenix Rising have never lost in extra time. 6 wins, 9 draws. They may have lost in some shootouts over the course of that time, but never, ever over the duration of 120 minutes.
But we'll have to hope that they can continue that trend here. Lots of tired legs for Phoenix, but at this point, you worry about Saturday and whatever comes after this tomorrow. Let adrenaline carry you through this one. And leave it all out on the pitch. This is as special as it gets for Phoenix.
Aviyevu pushing off Brooklyn Reigns. You do technically get an extra sub in the extra time interval, so Houston has 2 more to use after the Steres moment. Rising could use 5 if they wanted to.
Whole new team.
You could get everybody on. You could use everybody except the goalkeeper. Phoenix have a lot less options. Alex Araneta, Flood has come in, so they've got 4 more moments, 4 more guys to call upon. McGlynn on the ball for Dynamo. 92nd minute, 2 minutes into this extra time period. Steres, it's a complete reset for both these sides. The extra time, longer play, Skeers cutting off, feet of Bartlow. Who does the extra 30 minutes favor? Saintis foul. Is it Houston or is it Phoenix for you?
I think Phoenix has the chance here. It could go either way, obviously, but Phoenix has just done the right things at the right time, and they've really fought. I think that Flood comes in, subbed in the 90-minute interval. It's because Quayshow, we probably knew he couldn't go 120. That was the risk you ran with Quayshow, but man, so quality all night long. That's a guy who's played in MLS and has had those opportunities. Showed it tonight. Now it's Flood's turn. If Flood can hold still, Phoenix has a chance.
Cleaned up by Awadesu, long for Dynamo. Gillingham. Bartlow over the top, headed down by McGlynn. Along for Escobar. We just had to get to this point tonight. Cup competitions, Phoenix Rising just never can do it in the 90. In behind, Ponce. Linger. McGlynn, overlapping run Escobar, right side, attacking third. McGlynn crossing deep, crossing far, crossing over everybody's head. It also just had to come tonight with the return of Juan Guerra. Postseason run in 2023 when Phoenix won the title was all about extra time and late moments. He's on the Dynamo dugout now. Long throw Rising. Feet of Skeers, headed away. Up for Ponce. Rising highest was Smith. He's got it. Spinning away. Feet of Avayevu. Grabbed by Reigns. Fouled by Brooklyn Reigns. Phoenix win a free kick.
Well, when they make the U.S. Open Cup DVD, it's going to be really long because we're going to go 120 for the first 2 games that Phoenix plays. Who knows what comes after that, but wow.
Won in the shootout against Tulsa in the last round. 120th minute penalty save from Patrick Rakowski to deny Taylor Calhera an assured winner, frankly. And then Rakowski saved another in the shootout. Tulsa missed one as well, and Rising won 4-2 in kicks from the mark to advance to this game at this site against Houston. They win, they get Austin, same stadium. It would be May 20th or 21st. Saint on the ball, back for Rakowski, 94th minute, 1-1. Rakowski lifting over the head of Ponce, feet of Saint, Montgomery, Skeers, down the line, Formella, defended by Escobar, Dariush Formella. He's got to clip it all the way back into his own box. Montgomery, nervy, but heads it down for himself. Rising with space for the teenager, Braxton Montgomery. In behind, wanted Rivera, swept up by Awadesu. Middle of the park, Reigns for Dynamo. Houston, progress forward, no foul. Rising win it back. Good stuff from Noble Ikello, who's put together probably his most tough stint for Rising. He's played very well defensively.
I'd say his most impactful for Phoenix. He's been really, really courageous tonight. Something that he sort of lacked the last few weeks, not getting in duels and challenges. Got booked 3 games in a row, and I feel like that played a factor in why he decided to sort of pull up and not engage as many duels, not win as many. He wasn't challenging for the ball tonight. He has.
Linger, back he goes. 2 on the pitch for Rising, have cautions, by the way. 2 on the pitch for Dynamo. 1 is their goalkeeper. Linger, feet of McGlynn. Back he goes, Awadesu in the center circle. Dynamo have just peppered Phoenix all night. 15 shots to Rising's 3. 7 on target for Houston. 6 saves for Patrick Rakowski. Rising, they scored from the spot in the 45+4 at the tail end of the first half. Awadesu looking in behind to put somebody under pressure. Nobody gave him a run. Easy for Rakowski. We've played 5 minutes of this opening half of extra time.
Bated breath here. Rakowski, I don't blame him if he just tries to waste a little time here. Phoenix will look to have their moment of magic. Outside of that, they're going to sit and defend, but they have 30 minutes to play no matter what. Tired legs, a lot of guys who are going to hit the 120 mark tonight. You have to find a way to make that logistic.
You start to look back to the last Open Cup 3-game week. Who played 90, who played 120 in that stretch. Braxton Montgomery played 267 minutes across those 3 games for Phoenix that week. He played the full 90 on Saturday, so he can certainly go the 120 tonight. Lifted ball over the top from Steres. Linger is chasing. Montgomery's in trouble. Underhit back pass for Rakowski. Off his line, clears poorly. Touch for Bartlow. Down for Urso. McGlynn, middle of the park. Pushed wide. Feet now of Linger, who's playing in behind the number 9, Ponce. 97th minute. Here's Escobar. Good service at the penalty spot. Skips away from everyone. And it will be out for a goal kick. Rising survive again. We are halfway through this opening extra time frame. If you can continue to stay with us, fans, you can follow along and dive deeper into the thrills and drama of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Join the conversation on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Open Cup. Rakowski will go long with a goal kick. Phoenix in a negative way, probably playing, as Kevin said, for the moment, as I'm going to say, maybe for penalty kicks. Down for Avayevu. Over the top, Rivera, right side a touch, attacking half, dancing, Tico, Avayevu's feet, in behind for Sacco, who is offside. He got a shot on frame, but a great line from Awadesu and Bartlow, the two center backs.
That offsides flag has been a thorn in the side of Phoenix all year long. I wouldn't be shocked if they led the entire championship as a team in offsides. I know that Remy Cabral and Isan Sacco individually are on the top of the leaderboard in offsides given. They just can't release at the right time. It feels like the linesmen have eyes on them at all times. Sacco just to step off there, and if he's on, that's a really quality chance.
Well, it is their job, you know. Well, have eyes on them all the time.
Well, the linesmen, yeah. I mean, it's a career, man.
Maybe slip him a $5.
Okay, can we go 20? It's a big game.
It is a big game. He might ask for 25.
Price too tall for me.
Yeah. Bartlow, Escobar, attacking space, Dynamo, 99th, 1-1. Escobar down the right, crossing in, cleared by Saint. Further along, good stuff. Skiers stepping over, sliding a ball into the space. And Daniel Steres quickly, feet of Reigns, wide right McGlynn, attacking third, Jack McGlynn! What a finish! Cup magic for Dynamo, 2-1 Houston. Jack McGlynn finds the top corner. And now Phoenix will chase again. One of the great goals of this round comes from the U.S. men's national team man, Jack McGlynn.
That was one serious strike way out there, and that's one where finally at least you can look at Phoenix and say, what can you do? I mean, that was just perfect. Dynamo take the lead. Phoenix have to take this one, chip on their shoulder style. Go get your goal. Now it's your turn to go stun the crowd.
Beautiful, beautiful finish. That's major league quality from Jack McGlynn. And it may be the difference with 20 minutes to play in this tie. There has been one upset in the round of 32. Just one. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, 1-0 toppling of New York City FC. Can Phoenix find a second and put themselves in a spot to add a name on that list? Montgomery switching play for Saint. And you wonder how much Dynamo will drop in, maybe give Rising the chance. Formella can't turn beyond McGlynn. And has conceded a throw-in. It is Houston's to take. Right side, midfield stripe.
There's a chance you see Formella run out of gas down the stretch here. I don't know when the last time he played 120 was, but it's not recently. They're going to push him to the absolute brink of exhaustion tonight. He'll have to leave it all on the pitch to go the full 120. Tired might be the easiest adjective to describe it with.
Flood out of the air. Avayevu couldn't find it. Urso does for Dynamo. McGlynn spins beyond Formello, not once but twice. Jack McGlynn all the way back for Femi Awadesu. Phoenix Rising have played Major League Soccer sides twice before. They lost 2-1 both times. They're down 2-1 right now with 3 minutes and change to play in the first 15 minutes of extra time. There's a foul in the middle of the park as Urso was clattered into by Sacco and Avayevu. Free kick Dynamo. Awadesu. Is Rising ready? Another change. It seems to be in the form of the 17-year-old Jamison Ping. Bartlow's feet. Ping, a busy midfielder with a good first touch. Signed a pro contract at the beginning of this offseason. Escobar McGlynn, steady from Dynamo. Bartlow switching. Steres touching down. Midfield, now wide left. Kowalczyk into the path of Linger. Well defended by Montgomery. Andrzej Linger has appearances for Czech Republic. Braxton Montgomery not afraid. Smith a touch, invites the challenge, turns away, and got fouled in the process. Did he? Yes. It's a Rising free kick. Played quickly, Avayevu, referee will thwart it. Wasn't the right spot for him. 3 minutes left, first 15.
Might just be a survive and advance sort of situation here for Phoenix trying to get to that final 15. See if we can go in and reformulate that, bring Ping on, maybe save a substitution, sort of break. We'll see.
Sacco in behind, Avayevu, and for Sacco again, he is onside. He struck it hard right at Gillingham, who bobbled it first, but corralled it at the second offering. And a big stop from Blake Gillingham, the reserve goalkeeper for Houston. Still 2-1. Was the first shot for Phoenix since Formella's PK. They win it high. Skeers, Formella, Ryan Flood. Left side for Rising. JP Skeers floating over the top. Sacco is grabbed. He still has the ball at his feet. And Junior Urso is taken off of him. 2 minutes left. Linger dropping deep. Awidesu. Gillingham in his own 6, the goalkeeper. Flipping high. It'll bounce once, twice, thrice for Escobar. Bartlow, Urso, heavy touch. Nobody went into the challenge. McGlynn has it. And he switches play on a dime for Daniel Steres, the 34-year-old Californian. So much experience on this Dynamo side that won the Open Cup just 2 years ago. A professional performance that might be capped by a 99th minute goal from one of its younger names, 21-year-old Jack McGlynn. Awidesu clears, and clears to nobody, but Montgomery's going to be put under pressure by Ponce. Well defended by Saint to cover. Okello, so much space in the middle for the Canadian. Wide left, Flood, had to stay with it. Plays it backward for Saint. Probably 30 seconds left. Saint, center circle, Skeers. Saint again. Flood in so much space, has it again. Turning away from trouble. This is good stuff from Dynamo defensively. Bandito's still bouncing, down 2-1. Rivera, heavy touch. Montgomery will chase it down. And will we get extra time here in this first 15 minutes? We will get 1 minute. Saint steps on the ball, slings one high, over the top, looking for Sacco, away by Awidesu, touchdown by Rains. Back for Bartlow and Gillingham. Sacco, little pressure. Gillingham long. Header one, Ponce, Linger, Skeers, fouled him. It's probably the right choice from JP Skeers. That ball was rolling as it was played quickly. 30 seconds beyond, and Phoenix will get their substitution in. Jamison Ping will come in for Noble Okello. Central midfielder for central midfielder. 6-5 off, 5-7 on. Okello put together probably one of his better performances.
Interesting decision there. I would have kept Okello on. I thought he's had a really, really nice night. I feel like taking off Formella, drifting Avayevu up as a winger, which is something that they've already done this year. It's not unnatural. They've experimented with that look before. Getting Formella off the pitch and finally letting him breathe and rest. Keeping Noble on, putting Jamison in as well. Jamison's just going to chase. That's what he does.
A busy, busy bee, Jamison Ping. Cut out by Flood. And will that be the final moments? Dynamo, one more chance. And no, they took too long. Halftime of extra time. Jack McGlynn in the 99th. A searching strike that found the top left corner to Rakowski's right. That's the difference right now. A moment of magic from from a magician in midfield. 2-1 Houston. Phoenix with all the adjustments to make, Kevin Cardes.
They have a lot of adjustments to make and not a lot of choices to make them with. Low sub-count bench, a lot of academy kids. No more starters left on the bench. You look at the injury report. Jurl, your superstar, couldn't suit up today. Remy Cabral serving a red card suspension from the last round, couldn't play today. Pop Marboy out today. Just so difficult. They've played without a natural center back the entire 105 that we've seen. They'll go 120 without an actual center back likely touching the pitch, unless Araneta makes his first ever appearance for the club. So many questions, and the answer, Ryan, is finding one more moment of magic and trying to push it to a shootout. It's possible. You can find that moment. You hope it's not Sacco's breakaway that he put right into the chest of the keeper. Gillingham was there, but man, 15 minutes.
Who brings it? Carl Saint, Braxton Montgomery, Colin Smith, Hope Avievu, JP Skeers, Jamison Ping, Darius Formella, Ryan Flood, Isan Sacco, and maybe the man most likely to, Damian Rivera. 15 minutes left for Phoenix Rising. Their manager, a man who has specialized in underdog moments in his coaching career, Mamadou Ka, took Pacific FC in Canada all the way to a Canadian Cup final. They beat MLS Vancouver on the way there. Does he have a trick up his sleeve to get Rising headed in the correct direction? The thing that springs to mind the most for me is a word that actually Juan Guerra said a ton. North. You have to find your north. You have to find your moment. Your direction has to be true. And for Phoenix, they've got 15 minutes to find that truth, that direction, that moment. Jack McGlynn gave it to Houston with one fine strike that was well outside the 18-yard box. A huddle and a break for Phoenix. The star above their crest. The throwback kit. Dressed in black. Will it be their funeral or Houston's? 2-1 lead for Dynamo as they switch sides and step towards the north end. Houston will kick us off in the second half. And they play short with Urso. And Linger is fouled by Ping, who's going to come in and he's going to do a job. And he's going to end up 10 seconds into this second half in the book. And Mamadou Ka is talking to the assistant referee and saying, I mean, maybe that one's a yellow card, but that's his first touch. Give him a moment. Let him assess the game.
Well, the yellow card comes out and immediately Ping in the booking starts to get a little more full. Phoenix and Dynamo both trying to navigate through that. Don't want somebody to go out for that. Red card suspension. Remy Cabrals is looming so large right now. They wish they had their number 9. They don't.
No Margarita, no Cabral. They got the pleasant surprise of getting Quaisho back. Linger spins away from Ping, shoves it wide. Steris, Kowalczyk, in the attacking third, backward he goes. Urso, Reigns, space for Jack McGlynn. Sweeps through, short one wide. Chance to cut along for Escobar. And back for McGlynn, onside he was. Looking to cross, McGlynn up for the back post. Kowalczyk was there late. Goal kick Phoenix. 107th minute, 90 seconds into this second half of extra time. 2-1 Houston Dynamo. Scored in the 17th and the 99th to cancel out a 45+4 penalty from Formella for Phoenix. Rakowski goes long. Up for Skeers. Along for Sacco. Down by Rivera. Sacco pirouettes. Trying to use his body. Awadesu clears. Only as far as Colin Smith for Rising. Middle of the pitch, center circle, Carl Saint. Dynamo have dropped deeper here now though, Kevin.
they're going to sit down. This is their game to win. They have the lead. There's no shootout looming against a team that you don't want to go to a shootout with. They did it so masterfully against Tulsa on the road.
Some extracurricular activity there.
Skeers stayed on the ground and tumbled over Linger. Continue your thought.
This Rising team is fearless, and if they get to the shootout, they're the one that's playing with house money. You don't want to go to a shootout against that. Rakowski is in form, absolutely. They want to win. Sit down, take the 2-1. It's not a 5-0 battering, but you still advance.
108th minute. Ping on the ball for Phoenix. Right side, looking to cross. Flood was there. It was over his head. A little late from Ryan Flood. A little high from Jamison Ping. It's a throw-in, though, for Houston. Not a goal kick, so Phoenix will have a chance to press. Into the corner. Maybe 1.5 yards off the end line. As deep as you can get.
You're going to look for a long throw here if you're Dynamo. Just try to get it out of the area. Phoenix just has to win one aerial duel.
Rising do win it. They win it high. Flood can't get beyond his defender. Houston have it again. Kowalczyk. Phoenix won it. Foul. Avievu took down a Dynamo man in midfield. It was Brooklyn Raines who fell to the floor. 109th minute. 11 minutes plus stoppage time left in this game. It is the last of this Open Cup round of 32. San Jose a 2-0 win over Sacramento means that Rising are the final side with a chance to knock off an MLS opponent. Over the top, headed backward by Smith for Rakowski, who picks it up. Only one win from the first 15 for USL sides. The 2025 Lamar Hunt US Open Cup ramping up over the coming weeks, so the tournament's trophy is in clear view. Watch as the winners of this round take their next steps into the round of 16 as Rivera skips beyond, driving into the box. Damian Rivera to ground. No! Still alive for Phoenix, yes! Swept up by Flood. And down for Kowalczyk. Rivera went to ground, probably too easily. Ponce, Kowalczyk. Those rounds, the round of 16 that these two teams are fighting for, May 20th and 21st on CBS Sports and Paramount Plus. Skeers for Rising. In behind for Sacco. No foul as Sacco went to the ground. And sliding in was Ping. Throwing for Dynamo. Two chaotic challenges that had the south end stunting, but nothing there.
Brutal for Phoenix. Maybe Rivera went down a little too easy in the box, but he thought he had it. The crowd thought that he had it. He did get pushed, but maybe just a little too much simulation might have been called there.
Foul in the middle of the park. That one is on Houston. So Phoenix have a free kick. Saint, center circle. Over the top, at the feet of Avievu, cleared away. Touchdown McGlynn, beautiful ball over the top. Linger's gonna chase, Linger's gonna be onside. Is this the moment for Dynamo? Linger, Ponce, final dagger. Surely for Houston Dynamo, 3-1. A quick counter misread by Saint, and the two DPs combined for Dynamo. Linger to Ezequiel Ponce to put a picture-perfect mark on this one for the MLS side. 111th minute into the 112th, and Houston lead 3-1, Kevin.
Well, that's what you get. I mean, Saint's been as good as possible all night long, but he's not a center back. You're playing guys out there who aren't center backs. Eventually, something's going to get through the cracks. That was the ball. What a beautiful long ball over the top, and it just gets smashed in. You saw Rakowski hustle back on his line, but when that pass was made over to his right, he was dead to rights. That one, likely the dagger of Phoenix.
Yep. You can
Just a
feel
little
it in
flat
the
now.
stadium.
Yeah.
It's starting to lighten up at 38th and Washington. It's likely to be a first ever extra time defeat for Phoenix Rising. Braxton Montgomery lifting long. Rising need a quick response. How quick do they need a goal here? Next 5?
Next 5.
They can do that, make it a nervy ending. Smith, Ping, pushing one off the defender, Kowalczyk. Another trek to the Open Cup round of 32, second consecutive year for Rising. They got to host a game this year, first time since 2023 against Greenville. A misplaced pass gives Dynamo the ball on the 113th, and Houston Dynamo will make it in all likelihood here. 15 wins in this round for Major League Soccer, 1 for the USL. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, the only winner. Throw in Urso, hounded by Ping, lifted high, Linger, so much space for him. He's found in the middle of the park by Skiers. No, says the referee. Second chance, advantage being played. Linger on for McGlynn. Do they have a fourth to really shove it to bed? McGlynn. Good space finding for Ponce. Ezequiel Ponce awaiting options, away from trouble. Along the line, Steris. Steris has a hit off the backside of Montgomery and wins a corner.
You talked about how the stadium sort of had the energy sucked out of it. Ryan, it's because it felt real. I mean, there was a real chance here going into extra time, drawn up at 1-1, and it felt like Phoenix had held their own competitively the entire time. If this goes all the way through and Dynamo holds this result, it's not one to hang your head about if you're Phoenix.
McGlynn, he'll take it. He'll play it short for Kowalczyk, defended by Ping. Good pass, Urso. Finding the space of Escobar, laid along for Linger. Good strike, good service, good goal. Kowalczyk arrived late and finally finds a freeing fourth for Dynamo. They had been knocking on the door throughout the duration of this game, and the floodgates have flown wide open at 38th and Washington. Phoenix Rising will fall tonight. And Major League Soccer has its moment this week in the Open Cup. First time this year Houston Dynamo have scored 4 goals in a match as Alex Araneta comes in for Phoenix Rising, replaces Braxton Montgomery. Carl Saint has come out for Cyrus Kowal, the 16-year-old. So now it's Araneta's first appearance in a couple of years. After breaking his leg, Kowal, the teenager, gets his second appearance for Phoenix Rising. 116th minute, 4-1 Houston Dynamo. Phoenix will still wait for a home win. It will not be third time's the charm against Major League Soccer opposition in the Open Cup. Rising go long, Kowal flicks along. Rivera ran towards it, as did Avayevu. Much needed for Houston, who will get just win number 3 of the year in 12 games. Looking for rhythm, looking for wins in Major League Soccer's Western Conference. Ben Olsen in his 3rd season. Sold a lot of players this offseason to Dynamo. Coco Carrasquilla, their superstar midfielder. Hector Herrera, the Mexican legend. Rivera's in space, and he's turned backwards for Ping. So Dynamo in a bit of a rebuild as Ping drives a well-driven ball in. Avayevu, Sacco slipping, and not able to win it. And here comes McGlynn, and along he goes for Linger. Rakovsky along the ground, Ping. Big picture now turns to New Mexico on Saturday for Phoenix Rising, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, you need a win still. You're still looking for a win. Go on the road. It'll be a shame if they do it not at home again. And that's what'll fall so flat about this one, getting so close, still looking for the home victory. But man, just a good performance. I don't think that anything in the last 15 minutes specifically has changed for Phoenix besides the fact that they just had no one to go to on the bench. That's what it came down to. You have your guys and you're healthy and Pop Marboy's out there and Muhammad Traore's out there and Jurl's on the wing, and it's a different game. It is a wildly different game, and it didn't go that way. And in one hand, you take a sigh of relief because this is a team that's dealt with so much injury, a lot of absence. Now, at least no more Wednesday midweeks for Phoenix.
Well, but now it's a side that's played 90 minutes on Saturday, 120 minutes on the Wednesday, and they have to make a trip. And you're starting to look at the names. Braxton Montgomery played nearly 200 minutes, or played over 200 minutes. Colin Smith will play over 200. JP Skeers, Hope Avayevu, Isan Sako, they'll all eclipse at least 190 minutes over 2 games. Pamadou Ka said it last week. Rising, we're probably going to rest on Saturday anyway. But now, you haven't won either of these 2 games this week, you'll really search. Colin Smith will strike. It's blocked away in the 119th.
And perhaps you just get Cyrus Kowal up and moving in the bullpen on Saturday. There's a chance.
He's a good little player, 16 years old. The academy has had a bright moment this year with Ping, with Montgomery, Kowal, 16. Look at other players. Don Villegas, the goalkeeper. Zach Da Silva, Alex Spallanzar de la Cruz has made the last couple of teams, last couple of match days. We'll see what's in store for Rising, who still sit 10th in the Western Conference, but just outside of the playoff spots. Long ball, Araneta. It's a good one, too. It's found Sako. Sako serving in, blocked away. Awadesu. Linger. Driving, McGlynn touching, center circle. Placing the ball at the feet of Ezequiel Ponce, who had the crucial third in this game. Urso back, and Rivera and Skeers came together, and Skeers fouling Urso. Man to keep an eye on, Junior Urso. See his embrace with his former assistant coach, Pamadou Ka, in the aftermath of this one. The substitutes changed this game for Dynamo. They brought on one of their best players in McGlynn, who scored the second goal that will be the winning goal. Their DP Ponce, who scored the third. Linger, who set up the third and the fourth.
The substitutes changed the game for Phoenix too. Quayshow came out and immediately the defense got a little more shaky. Quayshow's been in and out of the starting 11 a lot this year due to injury.
Over the top to Linger on his left, up into the box. Escobar knotted down. McGlynn tried to chase it down, cleared away by Araneta. Full time in a 4-1 game. Phoenix showed some muscle for 90 minutes, really even 99. But as the 100th tick struck, so did Jack McGlynn. A beautiful curling effort that dove beyond the dive of Patrick Rakowski, and the cup run ends in the round of 32 for Rising. Houston Dynamo make it a super 15 for Major League Soccer. The lone winner from USL is Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but stuff to build on for Phoenix Rising as they showed well defensively for most of this game.
We asked Pamadou Ka, I'd say 3 weeks ago on the podcast, hey, if you had one word to describe this year so far, what would it be? And he said grateful. If I had one word to describe this one, it would just be proud. I thought that they stuck in and they played as well as they could, given the resources and tools available, such a short-handed roster, not a deep bench, academy kids littered throughout it, and they did so well in regulation. They did so well for the first 10 minutes of extra time. They did everything they could have. It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. It was inspiring at the end of it all.
At points of it all, the next home game for Phoenix will be the 17th of May against Monterey Bay. That's an out-of-school night. Crowd should be hot. Next up for Rising, Saturday, May 10th on the road in Albuquerque to take on New Mexico United. It's 2 home games coming for Houston Dynamo as they look to find some rhythm. Points in 5 of their last 6. Seattle Sounders, Minnesota United. Up and coming, you can stick here though, here on KDUS AM 1060. It's the post-game wrap-up presented by Crown Public House. On the way, Houston Dynamo advances to the round of 16. Phoenix Rising's run is over, a 4-1 win for the away side. Phoenix with much to work on heading into a crucial game next Saturday.
Chukwu's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app. Each day at work just dragging on. Get your sports fix on the lunch break. Join Chris Schubert and producer Evan live as they give their local perspective on the world of sports. Baseball, football, and basketball. Everything has a home on their plate. It's the lunch break with Chris Schubert, live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KTUS AM 1060, on the KTUS 1060 app, and KTUS 1060 on YouTube.
Hey Phoenix Rising fans, this is Discount Tire, your hometown tire retailer and trusted partner on the road for over 65 years. We know it can be overwhelming when buying tires, but we're here to help. Our online tire buying guide, Treadwell, makes finding the right tires simple. Just plug in your vehicle, location, and driving habits, and Treadwell will give you unbiased, personalized recommendations based on your needs, not based on price. Inviting, easy, and safe. Just how tire buying should be. Shop tires with Treadwell at discounttire.com. Let's get you taken care of.
Time for one last kick of the ball on tonight's match. It's Rising Radio postgame wrap-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Final score 4-1 after 120 minutes from 38th in Washington. Phoenix Rising fall at home in the round of 32 in the U.S. Open Cup. Welcome to the postgame wrap-up presented by Crown Public House here on Rising Radio and KTUS 1060 AM. Ryan Sikora, Kevin Cardez, Devin Henderson down on the touchline, Darnell King, hopefully on his way to chat with us after a hard-fought game that got away from Phoenix in the end, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix played toe-to-toe with Houston. It felt like, although they had their moments where they just lucked out in the 90, and I thought that they did really, really well to stick in. The game plan was obvious. We're just going to defend until we have a chance. Sacco is the one who draws the penalty foul. Formella converts at the spot, and it just felt real for so long. But at the end of it all, 115 minutes through, and you finish with the 120, there weren't enough bodies on the bench to compete with Houston. Dynamo just kept bringing quality. And the bench wasn't full of enough of that for Phoenix. It's a shame that it went that way, but it's nothing to hang your head about. That was a good performance. You still want to win, but finally we can look at one and go, that was good enough.
Devin, we get the rare privilege tonight to have you here. You haven't been around this group as much this year. What was your takeaway on the team, getting to see it in person for the first time and getting to watch how this one played out?
Yeah, I mean, it was a team with a lot of fight, right? It was a team with youngsters. You talk about Braxton Montgomery in the back who looked like he was playing beyond his years, who looked ready for the moment. And, you know, it's that age-old thing of, like, eventually, like Kevin said, the talent wins out, right? And in that second extra period, as the legs started to get heavy, Houston started to put those goals away, and they're so killer in that extra time. But up until then, it was a team that fought, and you just leave feeling like, what if you had, you know, your top quality players like a Jero Margarita, you know, like those type of players who couldn't play in this game. A Pop Marboy is another great example. So, like Kevin said, you know, nothing to hang your hat on. It was a good performance with the circumstances. So, a good showing for Phoenix.
I mean, they didn't have three center backs.
Right.
Axel Asenge unavailable due to being cup-tied. Mo Traore still at home in Senegal. Should be back with the team soon. Pop Marboy out injured. No Margarita. No Remy Cabral. Suspension from the Tulsa game. And that was the moment. You saw Jack McGlynn's superb finish, the picture-perfect quality that he provides in that moment. That's the real difference today, is the individual ability that a Major League Soccer side can bring against a depleted USL team.
Yeah, and McGlynn, you know, funny story. He's over here taking corner kicks, and on Dollar Beer Night, he heard a little bit from the fans. They were heckling him for a lot of the corner kicks, and then he goes on that side and puts it upper 90. A little bit of extra motivation coming from the Phoenix fans. You know, they had a lot of creative words of encouragement from McGlynn during the corner kicks.
That McGlynn goal that he scored had an expected goal of 0.02.
That's a lot,
Just
right?
a wonder. Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Is it?
Dude, that is a massive chance. No. It's just, I mean, what can you do, right? I mean, Burakovsky was in the area. It went right over his fingertips. That's just a wonder strike, and that's what happens when you play a better team. There's no debate. Dynamo had all the quality in the world, and Phoenix just had hope. And it was almost enough, and at the end of the day, that's really all you can ask for. I think that if they learned anything today, probably don't take it 120 against an MLS team, because this is just kind of what happens. But, I mean, they had a chance. This is actually the first time they haven't led against the MLS side that they've played, and maybe they'll get another chance next year.
So, Devin, again, I'll get your perspective on this one. I haven't played for such a long time. You ever have weeks where it's 90, 120, you got to go play 90 again, and what's that like on the legs for a player at this level?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you growing up, you have those tournament weekends, right, where you're playing, you know, 3 games in 3 days or 3 games in 2 days, and it's just about, it gets to that point where you don't feel your legs anymore. They get heavy, they get numb, and it comes down to, you know, mentally deciding that you're not going to allow that to affect your game as much as you can, and just kind of trying to push through that. But it gets so hard. You look at Isan Sako. I mean, by the end of that 120, like, he was struggling, right? Every single step, you could see a wince of pain, and you could see him trying to push through it, but he just did not have enough, and they keep trying to send him balls through, and he just didn't have enough legs to get it on the end of them.
How important is 3 points or even a strong showing in a point on the road in Albuquerque on Saturday now?
Well, I mean, it's always been an important game that you've had circled because New Mexico is the rival. That is the team that you want to beat every single time. Road, home, away, Cup, Jaeger, U.S. Open. You always want to beat New Mexico. You have won 1 game this year, 1 game in league play. Go get 3 points. I don't think a strong showing is enough when it comes to, you know, oh, we had an awesome draw. No. You need 3. You're at the point where you need 3. 3 games, 7 days. Get 1 win out of it. And then you start to climb the table, too, because when they led last week, they were in 5th. They were in 5th. You're so close. You're right there. You're right there. Go get your 3.
That is the Western Conference so far to start this season. We'll step aside here on the postgame wrap-up presented by Crown Public House. Looking for Darnell King, who's making the rounds on this Wednesday night. Phoenix 1, Houston 4. We'll step away on KDUS, AM 1060.
Suzuchukwu's in. Arteaga!
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
Buying a house can seem almost impossible, especially today. But with the right agent in your corner, it makes the challenge seem effortless. Hi, I'm Connor Cochran with Good Oak Real Estate, your go-to agent in the Valley. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Because finding the perfect home shouldn't be stressful, it should be exciting. Call 480-688-3200 today. Again, that's 480-688-3200. Let's have the conversation.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is the Rising Radio post-game wrap-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Welcome back to the post-game wrap-up presented by Crown Public House. Darnell King making the Sonder walkover following a 4-1 defeat to Houston Dynamo. Just got away from Phoenix Rising towards the tail end of extra time. 1-1 after 45 minutes. Dariusz Formella found the back of the net from the penalty spot. And Rising just gutted out a gritty second-half performance that saw Dynamo land 10 shots, no goals. Got to extra time. Phoenix hung around. A beautiful Jack McGlynn strike ended up being the difference before a late rally from Dynamo to grab 2 more as Darnell King, assistant coach, is with us now. Coach, it was inspiring at times, I think, maybe the right word, but just not enough in the end.
Yeah. I mean, the boys fought hard the second half, and going into extra time, they were pushing really hard, and we were trying to get that little goal in, but kid hits a worldie, so sometimes you just got to tip your hat to that.
I mean, absolute world-shaking goal there. Shifting the focus a little bit towards Saturday, how do you handle going 120 on Wednesday? You had a game already on Saturday, and now you play your third in 7 days. What does the preparation for Saturday look like on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to you as a player. It's a mindset. We just make sure we get our guys in the best shape possible for the game and make sure they're recovered and ready to go. I mean, like I said, it's a mentality that you have to have because this is what we do for a living. This is our job. This is what we love to do. So this is what comes with the territory. 3 games in a week, we prepare and we get ready to go.
Well, and you were one that was one of those super fit players that could do a week like this. If 300 minutes was required, you could provide it, right? So when you look across the locker room at the available legs that you have, do you see a team that, only made 2 changes from the Saturday game today that can trot on out again on Saturday and compete?
Yeah, I think it's from guys that we're trying to get back and, get ready to prepare for future of the season, and we get these guys ready for whoever we have available, and obviously we have the young boys who come off the bench and do their roles. You see the energy that they bring, so we have players to step in and do those roles, but like I said, we just have to get the guys that are unfit ready for the game, and then the guys that are fit just to keep their mentality right and be ready to go battle against a rival on Saturday.
Most impressive thing that your club, in your mind, did tonight?
They battled back to resilience. I think you got to see, you have some young players on this team battling guys that are, experienced pros, and they're stepping up out of their ranks and going toe-to-toe with them. So it's inspiring to see that they didn't shy away from challenges. You've seen the tackles that were made in this game, and nobody feared a team that is at a higher level that you would say today. So for me, that was inspiring for me because I never want my players to shy away from anybody. I don't care who you're playing. So they showed that tonight for me, and I'm fortunate on the result, but it's a good building one for us.
Was it good to see Juan again and to have a conversation?
Yeah, I played with the guy. That's my brother, so it's always good to see him and have a good chat. But welcome back a champion into his home, and it's good. We shared something special. So
yes, sir. All right, Darnell King, assistant coach for Phoenix Rising. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Cheers.
4-1. Houston Dynamo get the win tonight. It was just not enough in the end for Phoenix, who had their moments, had their possible chances, Kevin. That was the game, and it came down to, again, a moment of quality. We'll continue to say it in this post-game wrap-up presented by Crown Public House.
And it felt like offsides once again plagued Rising and Sacco specifically. Isan has really struggled to stay at least onside, releasing a step off, it feels like 2 to 3 times a game. And he had them again. And it's those little moments, right? If you're going to beat a team of such higher quality, you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be perfect in the way you can create those chances. Can you at least be on the money enough to release when you're supposed to and get a shot on goal? They went through the entire second half without a true chance in any form. And if you look back, they scored a penalty goal. I mean, that wasn't an open play opportunity there. They won the penalty and they converted from the spot. You did your job. That's perfect. But you didn't create in the open play, and it felt like that just evaded them the entire time. Once again, expected. That's what you run against. But if you want a chance to be the cup set team, if you want to level with Pittsburgh and take down your opponent and advance to the round of 16, you had to do it here. And you had to do it on the pitch, and you had to be perfect in some ways. They weren't perfect enough in an aspect of the game where they could have taken over and dominated. That was the difference to me.
So that's all. 4 goals for Houston Dynamo. They win by multiple goals for the first time since they won the 2018 Cup against Philadelphia Union. It all got away from Phoenix at the tail end, but for 95-plus minutes, Rising really fought and almost found their footing in a way that was necessary. Houston Dynamo move on to the round of 16. They will face Austin FC. Phoenix Rising, all eyes turn towards the USL Championship and a trip to Albuquerque on Saturday. Maybe a must-watch for Phoenix Rising as they look to get points as this young season gets a little bit older. For Kevin Cardez, for Ryan Myers, for Devin Henderson, for Sammy O'Brien, for our stats guy tonight, Mahir Sinhasan, I've been Ryan Sikora saying so long from 38th in Washington. We'll see you Saturday for New Mexico.